broken system, chained and tangled up in lies. Voices shouting, screaming in defeat. Politicians playing games under darkened skies. Hope lost in the dust of the street. Red and blue, colors pouring from the sky. Debates turn to anger, the crowd gets loud. Punches flying in the blink of an eye. Truth buried deep beneath the shroud. Welcome to the bullpen, where the weak will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive. Faces on the screen, flashing perfect teeth. But behind those eyes, just rotting greed. Politicians turn to whispers beneath. They all just get what they need. Whispering conspiracies, drowning in their lies. Echoes of freedom, lost in cries. Spin the wheel of fate, let's see who rise. But this game will bleed you dry. Welcome to the bullpen, where the weak will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive. Welcome to the bullpen, where the weak will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive.
Good evening. It's another Sunday, so it is time for the bullpen. We've got our usual panel of co-hosts, and we've got a special guest tonight, and one more joining us a little bit later. But I'd like to introduce everybody to Dr. Michael Jones.
Hello.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am an X-junkie. I've been on X for, I'm actually X-socialist. I was a democratic socialist as of 2019, and COVID converted me. Saw the stuff that the World Economic Forum was doing and UN Agenda 2030, and I decided to get on X before Elon, do some political writing, got nuked when Elon took over, started another account, and I've built up quite a bit of a following just stating my thoughts, doing research on the World Economic Forum, UN Agenda 2030, BlackRock, all that fun stuff, and here I am.
Cool.
That's
When you
actually
say
pretty interesting.
X-junkie, you
Yeah.
mean Twitter X-junkie.
Twitter X.
Not that
junkie.
you are an
Yeah.
X-junkie.
That's what I was thinking too until we started talking about that. But I think that's pretty interesting, the fact that you used to be a democratic socialist and it was
Yeah.
the World Economic Forum, Great Reset stuff that kind of
Yeah.
made you rethink everything.
I was there's more to that story, but I was an Obama supporting, went to his rally in 2008, voted for him twice, voted for Hillary. I mean, I was like Mamdani, AOC, screw Trump for 4 years. And then when the pandemic hit, it was like, what's going on? So that's my
It had
story.
that effect on a few people.
Right.
Indeed.
Baptized by fire. So,
Yeah. So your Twitter account got nuked. You started a new one,
yeah.
and you're doing pretty good with it, right?
Yeah. No, almost 16K. You know why my account was nuked? Because I was
What?
writing about the bioweapon labs in Ukraine following War Clandestine, and I was retweeting his stuff, and whoever was behind nuking all the accounts got me. So
I mean, that stuff is
CIA shit right there, buddy.
Well, no, it's 100%. It's like in the public domain. It's not a. It's not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, we
it's
knew
just-
that within
it's
days
known.
of the invasion.
So I
Ukraine.
I blame Adam Schiff for that, and I hate Adam Schiff because I know he was one of few behind that nuking. So
I
We all
blame
have
Victoria
many
Newland,
reasons to hate him.
but that's just me.
Victoria Newland, you said?
Yeah, because she's the see you next Tuesday, who was one of the architects of the color revolution that started this whole mess.
Nurse Ratchet doppelganger.
Yeah.
Not when she first started in government. We looked at the before and after pictures of that.
I did. What a change.
I would like to thank Culture for sending everybody over here from his show, which I was on for a little bit tonight. And looks like we already got our first super chat. Mark Daly for $5. Dems are pulling out all the stops to prevent the first black female governor in America, proving yet again they're the real racists. We will be going over the election stuff in a few minutes when Keri gets here. So we'll keep that one in mind, because I'm sure Chad has a few things to say on that one. Mark Daly for another $5. Mom Donnie for mayor. If it takes 8 million New Yorkers suffering socialism to make the other 340 million Americans turn away, that's a price I'm willing to pay. I would also say that, with the chance of New York, well, almost certainty of New York falling to socialism, it's kind of funny because, what they're about to learn is what everybody is learning through this government shutdown. When the government is who feeds you, the government can stop feeding you.
Yep. Pretty much.
And we'll see if they ever learn that lesson. But yeah, we'll get to the elections here in a little bit. Why don't we start out real quick with Trump's Asia trip? So Trump went on a whirlwind Asia trip, basically to promote diplomacy, trade, regional stability, and to attend a summit in Malaysia. He finished brokering the peace agreement between Cambodia and Thailand, and secured some landmark deals. So we get some critical minerals from Thailand and Malaysia, and billion-dollar trade arrangements with some of those countries as well, which is mostly to boost the global supply chain with major concessions to some of those countries to keep them away from China and China trade. So it was a quick little trip, but he got a lot of flack for it because while the government shut down, he's apparently supposed to not be doing anything but negotiating with the Democrats. What say you guys?
I think there's a lot of people who are like, oh, we didn't really get that much from China, not realizing the position both China and the U.S. are in. Neither one is prepared to go to full war economically against the other. Like China right now does have us as a choke point with the rare earth minerals. But we're the only market that China can effectively sell the volume they need to fund Xi's, communist, I want to say mafia style government. Without the United States market, China gets into economic crisis super fast. Their real estate market has already imploded. They've moved so much into production and selling cheap goods that they need, and the market and the European Union has not been willing to accept them dumping that stock over there. So they still needed to retain access to the market. We need the rare earth minerals. Now, what Trump did before he met with Xi, and you mentioned it, was he set the stage to create a separate and necessary supply chain of rare earth minerals with those other countries sending it. I believe it's supposed to be processed in Australia is where they want to do the rare earth refining.
Right.
But that's going to take at least 2-3 years to get up and running to get significant volume going. So what Trump knows is he needs time on the rare earth minerals to create that separate supply chain. Xi knows that we need those things, but Trump knows that Xi needs our market, and Xi knows that too. So they made effectively a détente to maintain the status quo, to reopen the status quo, as it were. China's going to reopen buying soybeans from our farmers. They're gonna delay for a year this special license that you need for rare earth minerals so that the flow can continue to the United States. It was basically a retreat on both sides to status quo positions because neither one thinks they're in a position to be able to handle the all-out war. But at the same time, Trump is making more strategic moves to protect and insulate the United States, specifically probably by the time the successor president is in office. You know, whether that's Vance, Rubio, or whoever takes over, if it's a Republican. I mean, if it's not a Republican, the Chinese will just buy him off, and it won't be an issue. So
It won't matter anymore. Yeah.
it won't matter anyway. But this creates a thing. Now, the other thing that happened that is people are not paying attention to is that in the same time, he also basically cut off the negotiations with Canada completely over the trade issues with them. They are currently negotiating with Mexico a bilateral agreement. As soon as that deal is done, I believe Trump and the administration will be sending their notice to basically nullify the UMCA, United States Mexico Canada trade agreement. And that will mean that we have no trade agreement with Canada, and they're effed because we don't need them very much for importing or export, like for trade.
Well,
Mexico's
they've
far
run to the
more
bosom of
important.
China anyway.
But Chad, what about the maple syrup?
We get that from Vermont. We can make it in America too.
We lose
Silicon
Crown
nuts.
Royal. Nothing of value is lost.
Nothing of value is lost.
Sure, it'll be like what's the Canadian beer? Molson. We'll lose Molson. Or maybe Tim Hortons will have an issue. But I mean,
Have
these
they
are all
encroached into the U.S.?
yeah. They bought Burger King.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I
But-
find interesting is the geopolitical power plays that aren't being talked about. Because you think of like, since Trump has been in office, there's been 3 countries that he's focused on: Canada, Venezuela, and Greenland. And each 3 of those either have CCP influence or future CCP influence.
Each also have staggering amounts of resources in
Yeah.
our hemisphere in terms of energy and minerals.
And I always laughed when people were like, "Oh, he's going to buy Greenland." I'm like, "Do you know what's in Greenland? Do you know how many resources are in Greenland? That would be like a gold
Plus,
mine."
just the strategic placement.
Well, not just the strategic placement, but like the Dr. Jones is over here saying, the Greenland is really strategic in that it has all these mineral resources and it is super sparsely populated.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to displace anybody to mine these minerals, right? The population of Greenland is basically one city.
Well, I mean, if
much
you look
like
at
Alaska.
Venezuela too, I mean, the CCP influence in South America. I mean, if we were somehow, and this is what gets me with some American, what Tucker talking about, like, oh, we don't need to get involved in Venezuela. And I don't want to start a discussion on Tucker, but the thing is, Venezuela is important, not just for destroying the cartels, but in putting a stop with the CCP infiltration in like South America and, getting their gas resources. I mean, there's like a lot of factors in play there. So
I agree. I think somebody on X that I was following referred to it as the New Monroe Doctrine, which is basically it's our hemisphere, get the F out. Like, this is our business. That's what it should be, like Panama with what we were doing
Panama
with the canal. Because allowing China to control the port access on the Panama Canal is retarded. That is where all our shipping. Otherwise, you've got to go much longer routes and costs, et cetera, et cetera. Again, Trump is in a position where he can't necessarily do everything he wants to immediately because of the shock it would cause to the system without creating these alternatives. If you're looking at what Trump and his economic team with Bissett and all these other guys are doing, it's trying to fast track the alternative supply chain as quickly as possible. Because until you have the alternative supply chain, in place, you can't necessarily completely cut off China. Now, what they're doing is they are strategically making alliances with these other countries. Now, the ultimate geopolitical move to really isolate China, if the neocons could ever get their grubby hands off, is to let us make a peace deal with Russia and Ukraine, so that we can bring Russia, because Russia doesn't like Xi in China. We've talked about it before. They're not. They are allies in only so much as they are forced to be. And Putin would much rather work with a Western aligned country, especially if you look at some of the philosophical underpinnings of his government with Dugin and some of those guys. He wants Western values, Christian values, those kinds of things to be, protected. And I think he would love working with somebody like Trump or even a Vance successing him to do that. And that would really be how you isolate China. Plus, then you bring the cost of oil down for everybody again. I mean, I don't know did you guys see oil, like gas station prices jump like 30 cents just in a day this last week? It's ridiculous.
I mean, for me,
pay
they've actually
attention until I
gone
have to
down
fill
quite a bit. I mean, we're almost, I would say, close to $2. I mean, it's. I think the lowest I've seen it right now has been like 217, 227.
Damn, I'm jealous. I'm in Vegas, and the station closest to me is 425.
Wow.
Cheapest you can get is like 370, but
It was, we were around 260, and then for some reason, then the last day it jumped to 299.
I mean, it might be different tomorrow, but when I filled up my Jeep today, before heading to the ranch, it was $1.32, and a different gas station I passed on the way home, it was like if you pay cash, it's like 217.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we've been
Nevada
sitting around
unfortunately always
240s.
echoes California.
Yeah.
Whatever California does, Nevada gets the effect because this is where we get our oil. So
Well, and Texas, you tend to see a little bit lower prices than some of the other states around it, just because they've got the refineries.
So much, oil refinement,
Yeah, because Colorado, we're at about 240, 247, I think, is what I filled up the wife's car for yesterday. So,
wow, I'm jealous.
yep, it pays to get out of some of these states on that side of the country.
We don't have
Of
a
course,
state tax though. but
Colorado is one where I need to get out of too. So,
Texas doesn't either. So
well, our next guest has shown up, so we'll bring her on in. I'm hoping that she's ready. Keri Smith from Deprogrammed.
Hello, guys.
hello.
Hey, how's it
Hello.
going?
Good. Thanks for letting me join you. Just checking my microphone because I know I have so many problems with it.
It sounds fine right now, just almost like hallway effect, but
Yeah, I was gonna say a little echoey, but
the volume's fine. Now it's gone, like everything.
What is that in gallons like the rest of them, like the civilized world uses? Canadian Spider-Man. Don't come at me with liters. $1.50, $1 a liter. You want
It's
a
5
liter of
liters
cola,
to a
Farva?
gallon. 750.
Farva.
Isn't it like roughly like 3 liters to a gallon or something like that?
5.
5? Oh, it's 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was in Canada once. I was like, holy shit, it's like $1 for gas here. He's like, that's a liter. I'm like, oh, never mind. So it's $5 a gallon. Yeah.
I met a guy in Montreal. He said he's paying $2 a liter, and I'm like, "You're paying $10 for a gallon of gas," and he's like, "Yep."
That's insane.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, that's Canada, so
Keri, are you still muted?
Yeah, can't hear.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Undo whatever you did.
You might want to check
Always
what your
Keri is
source
better than no
microphone
Keri.
is.
Yeah, I was gonna
on
say check the
EV
source
Mux.
microphone. Yeah.
oh, it's 3.5 liters to a U.S. gallon. So
Oh, 3.5. Okay.
Did you see the crazy shit going on in Canada with, thanks to their native land acknowledgements,
Yeah.
now the tribes are just like putting liens on people's houses to take them?
That's
I
Yeah, the
vaguely
courts are just
heard
sending out
about
letters
that.
saying, your house is ours now.
Yeah, like you can't get a mortgage now. Like this one dude who's like, I needed to refinance my mortgage, and no bank would let him because of a lien from the native tribes.
That's insane.
It's in British Columbia.
Yeah.
And it's all land grab because if the tribes get possession, they're just going to turn around and sell it.
Right.
We fished here
Sell it back to the individual that bought it.
we fished here 800 years ago. So your house that you have is now property of the tribe
And now we're going to sell
Yes.
fireworks.
and casinos.
Yeah. Yeah. Leftists ruin everything.
Yeah.
Chief
There she
Hold'em
is,
is
yeah.
all in on taking the land.
Chief Hold'em.
All right, Keri, say something.
Nope.
Nothing.
Yeah, check your source and make sure you select your mic or your audio input.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yes.
I'm just going to use this crappy mic because the good one's not working.
Okay, that works.
All right, and we won't touch anything. So that is all happening in Quebec, and there are now U.S. native tribes claiming parts of Canada. Interesting.
Well, those are the parts that the Irish gave up. Go see
Yeah.
MadEPAP.
When the Irish tried to take over portions of Canada and actually gave up a portion of the U.S. instead. That didn't work out well.
Yeah, typically never does.
So we've got our two guests here because we did want to go over kind of last numbers for the election, and Dr. Jones has some information on the election, the election stuff that he wanted to share. We'll just kind of start with the New York City mayor race, and I'll give you the Kalshi numbers and the polling for the last week, and then we can talk about the race and what we think's going on there. But Mamdani, 91% on Kalshi. Cuomo is at 9. The polling average for the last week, Mamdani's polling in 45, Cuomo 32, and Sliwa 18. I expect this is just going to automatically go to Mamdani.
Yeah, they are screwed.
I don't know. It depends because the question is if Silwa's support doesn't collapse. There's plenty, people who might indicate him in a poll, but when you're getting into that voting booth and it's effectively a binary choice, you're either voting to keep Mamdani out or you're voting for him directly. And the vote to keep him out at this point is Cuomo. Like, there's no one who can realistically say Silva's got a chance because of the makeup of the electorate in New York City. So it's how many people who would vote Republican or independent will hold their nose for Cuomo.
Right.
I can
Slee
tell you,
Slee was 0 on Kalshi on the betting
yeah,
markets.
I can tell you that there is concern in the Mamdani and Democratic camp from at least the interior pundit people working the campaign that the early returns on who's making up the electorate is not as young and or foreign as they would have liked
Oh.
so far.
Sliwa is basically a disruptor at this point. There's no reason why he should be in the race. No reason at all.
Do
So,
you?
Keri, from your show Friday, you had a question on that
Well,
specifically.
I did have a question about that because that's what I thought as well until I saw this poll from Victory Polling, and then I forget the second polling place that had the same kind of results that showed if you reduced it to a 2-person race between Mamdani and Sliwa versus Mamdani and Cuomo, that Sliwa actually had a closer margin, like he was closer to Mamdani. And
No way.
I saw this on 2 polls, and just think about it for 1 second. Here's what I think is reflected in that poll is that there are people who are voting for Sliwa who would never vote Cuomo because of the COVID years. And so you're not seeing as much, if Cuomo drops out, you're not seeing as much of or you're actually seeing people stay with Sliwa is what I mean. And then you've got some of those people who would have voted for Cuomo now going to Sliwa because they're not going to vote for Mamdani. Whereas if in the opposite scenario where Cuomo drops out, where Sliwa drops out, you're not going to see those people saying, okay, then I guess I'm going to vote for Mamdani. Does that make sense? I think a lot of those Cuomo voters would vote for Sliwa, is what I'm saying. If there were only two options, a lot of Cuomo voters would vote for Sliwa, but they're voting for Cuomo because they think, oh, he's got the best shot, I better vote for him. So why, here's my question. If those polls are accurate, why was there all this pressure for Cuomo to stay in and for Republicans to vote for Cuomo?
Because the polls aren't accurate.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's not. Look, Keri. I majored in political science. I took a polling class from a guy who worked in DC as a pollster, made a lot of money doing it, and he told me plenty of times in class, you can make a lot more money giving the polls that make your candidate happy than you can make money being honest. So, and you can rig a poll just on how you ask a question. You can do it all sorts of different ways if you're not actually trying to. You can rig a poll just by calling the right areas. Like if I ran that poll and I called, was it is Long Island a borough of New York City? Like, I think it is, right? 5 boroughs.
Queens,
anyway,
Brooklyn.
Queens. Depending on where you call, what time of day you call, like if you called the Upper West Side and not, like Harlem, you know, it's like when you're polling Pennsylvania. If you make your poll mostly in Philadelphia, you're going to skew your results, even though you might have the right demographics in terms of age, race, and population. The urban center votes differently than the rest of the rural part of the state. So if you can get 1,000 people from Pennsylvania and they're all in Philadelphia, you're going to have a very Democratic leaning poll.
Right.
Just choosing the area code you call in some states can rig your poll. So I don't know who did the poll or what. I'd want to see what the question was, how it was phrased, and because you can do a lot of things on how you phrase a question. So I would say that poll showing you that Silwa was doing better in a 2-person race is utter bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
But don't you think there's some truth to the idea that Sliwa voters are more likely not to vote for Cuomo than the other way around? Like a lot of Sliwa voters, there's no way they would vote for Cuomo because of the COVID years, because they don't view him as that different from Mamdani.
Yeah, yes, I would agree with that.
The problem is
but
I don't think that the base of Sliwa voters is enough to make a dent.
I think the actual base of Sliwa voters is probably like 1 or 2%.
Right.
Then you've got people who are Republicans who are, like I'm a Republican and might vote just to make it, like I'm voting a Republican. But that's in a normal election. Remember, Mike Bloomberg ran as an independent and captured most of the New York City quote unquote Republicans after he had started as a Republican. New York City's electorate is like 90% what we would consider left leaning in most of the rest of the country. Right. Like you might have 10% genuine conservatives, and of that 10%, only like 2 or 3% are really like who Silva's stuff is. But
99% chance a Democrat wins that race no matter what.
Yeah. The only way you get a Republican winning in New York City is after Mayor Dinkins and 20 years of New York City being escaped from New York, right, where people were so desperate just to be able to take the subway again, they voted for Giuliani, who had made his bones putting organized crime figures away in New York City. That's how you got Giuliani. And Giuliani, to his credit, cleaned up New York fairly effectively. And then Mike Bloomberg ends up winning off of the coattails of Giuliani. And then he moves more leftist.
Right. Then you get somebody like de Blasio who just wrecks the ball, wrecking ball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand, like, New York City is not generally going to vote for anybody conservative ever.
Especially now with the fortification of areas. So like New York City is locked, it's blue. And that's why at this point I'm wondering, who's paying Sliwa at this point? Right. I would love to open the books and see who's been giving him money over the last 3 or 4 months. And then you would
the New York City voting, the way the public support is set up for people who get, on the ballot, he gets money from the city and state.
Right. But what I'm saying is I think you'd find some left-leaning people backing him to stay in the race. You saw that with the last election with the Senate. you had a bunch of disruptor candidates that took votes away from the Republican, and I guarantee you he's there as a disruptor and as a disruptor only. So, they're paying him to do it.
I can tell you from living in Virginia, that was the standard Democrat playbook. Anytime they thought it was going to be a close election,
Right.
they would sign up and make sure that a libertarian candidate got on the ballot,
Yep.
and they would fund the libertarian candidate, and the libertarian candidate would exclusively campaign to draw votes from the Republican so that they could win with a plurality of votes, where the election might be 47, 44, 3.5, 4,
Right. I call it the Mark Elias special because he's the one who backed
he
all
does
these
it all the time.
libertarians.
Oh yeah. And they love doing that.
Right.
So this is, I don't know if you've got into the political election side of like the kind of stuff like that, but Keri, that is a standard thing that they'll do because, and my principles comes in, Republican voters tend to be more principle oriented than power oriented Democrat voters. So you can suck up a good number of them with a libertarian candidate.
So this is the poll that Keri was looking at from Interactive Polls.
And if you click on the link, you can see what you want to see, their methodology, I guess, or what questions they were asking. I don't know anything about Victory Insights, Victory Polling, but I just thought this was interesting. But
Let me
I hear you.
reshare it with that one. Part of it just goes to the reality of New York City, as Chad's been saying.
No, yeah, they're perpetually Democrat, much like California at this point.
Another question they asked if you was, would you consider moving out of New York City if Mondami is elected mayor?
Oh, I'm curious what that says.
26.5% said yes.
Wow, that's pretty high.
So they've got the head-to-head matchups. Do you believe that Zohran Mamdani is a threat to the future of New York City? Majority say no.
Of course.
Would you consider moving out of New York City if Zohran Mamdani is elected mayor? 68% say no.
But it doesn't say who they called or any of those things. It just says what they asked them, I guess.
Just we asked voters.
Yeah.
So that didn't even tell us if it's likely voters or...
It was a likely voter poll. The subheading
likely?
said LV, so it's likely.
Oh, yeah. Sample size,
I'm
500
still
likely
reading through.
voters.
Okay.
So bear in mind when it's a likely voter poll, that means the pollster has, in their own determination, figured out what they think the electorate is going to be. That's another thing where the pollsters can rig it by how do you think this is an R plus 3, a D plus 4, what's the electorate?
Right.
Then you're going to weight your samples to fit what you think the actual electorate model is going to be.
Yep. So I think, for the most part, we fully expect Mamdani is going to be the next mayor of New York City. How much damage can he actually do as mayor?
He could do a lot
Enough?
of damage.
I was going to say probably quite a bit.
Yeah, but is it enough?
I don't know whose show I mentioned this on. I don't know if it was Comix or you, Bull. But I said, if you want to look at the future of New York, look to London.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's very accurate.
Khan is Mamdani.
Yeah.
They're the same person.
Finkel is Einhorn.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did mention that on my stream.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's just the same type of person in almost every single way.
You're going to see
Hard
more
leftist.
weaponized. You're going to see a lot more weaponized justice, where if somebody's attacked on a subway and they defend themselves, the person defending themselves are going to be screwed.
Also see a lot more homeless on the subway.
Yep. These community grocery stores. I mean, it's
Well, and we already know how bad those are because
right.
We've already seen government-run grocery stores like rancid meat. There's nothing on the shelves.
Right.
It's completely awful.
Well, we've seen the DMV.
Yeah, well,
You
actually,
want your grocery stores to be run like the DMV.
Yeah, I have to say the DMVs in Texas actually run pretty decently, but
That's because Texas has been administered by Republicans for 30 years.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's got its problems. Like, if you want to go to the DMV, you're supposed to basically register, and I think it was like a month and a half before I could actually get my appointment to get my driver's license renewed.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, but when I was there, I was there for like maybe like 45 minutes. It was pretty quick.
I am calling this right now. If he wins, there's going to be a mileage tax in New York City if you want a car.
Oh
Wouldn't
yeah,
doubt that.
hands down, they're going to do that.
They're going to take lanes out, more bike lanes, mileage tax. They're going to have a camera system like the ULIZ in London, where you're going to have a car after a certain date. I mean, he's going to put the hammer down on gas cars and driving because he wants
Weren't they
public
already
transportation.
talking about, or didn't they already do a thing where if you're coming into the city,
Yeah.
you were already paying a fee?
Yep. Trump
Did
went
that get
after it.
instituted, or?
I think Trump got it removed, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I'm
Trump
sure
was
we'll see that
blocking
coming.
federal money while it was happening.
Right.
Okay.
So I saw this interesting interview about Mamdani. I didn't finish it. I'm almost finished with it. It was trigonometry. They had on this journalist who read every single tweet that Mamdani's ever done, and she has access to the Democratic Socialists of America's forums and reads all their private communications. And she was kind of giving her opinion of what's going to happen if he's elected, which he likely is going to be. And so what I thought was interesting is she said that she keeps hearing from conservatives that some people are saying, well, at least if he's elected, which I was kind of thinking this, at least if he's elected, he's never run anything. It's going to be a complete failure. And, maybe we need an example of failed communist or socialist policies in our lifetime in an American city to point to. That it would be, a lot of conservatives think that if he wins, that's the one silver lining is that in the next presidential election, we can run against what he represents and what his policies are because he will have failed. Right. And she was sort of saying that people should be more cautious because it doesn't really matter what his policies are. He's got this, he was polling at 1% last year, and he had this meteoric rise. And she was saying a lot of why he's been so successful is just vibes. Like it's just vibes. And people
It's just
like
vibes, bro. It's just vibes.
just vibes. And people like they like the message that he's putting out, whether the policies that he wants to implement, whether he's able to do them and accomplish them or not, they still like the message he's putting out. And she sort of likened it to Trump in 2016 in the way that Democrats underestimated him and were joking about like, oh, we hope he's the nominee because we're going to squash him. And they thought he had no chance, of course. And she said, in that first Trump administration, he didn't end up implementing very many of the policies he had promised. But people were still with him, and actually MAGA grew because we liked the vibes and it was a truly populist movement. And now in his second administration, he's able to implement a lot of those policies that he's promised. And so I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting analogy to look at the way that Democrats underestimated Trump in 2016 and kind of compare it to, are we underestimating what's going to happen if he's elected?
I don't think
Democrats
so.
are
I think
great.
we're expecting he's going to run it into the ground, and New York is going to be a hellhole.
Yeah, I don't expect that New York is going to be run efficiently because, like I said, we have examples we can go and point to of like how bad it can get, like you mentioned with the grocery stores and the fact that there are, what state was it that had, or what city had that state-run grocery store, and it basically was filled with rancid meat and empty shelves?
Kansas City.
It was Kansas City? Okay, because, like I said, we know what that looks like. So, and he wants to institute these things, and we know about the whole thing when buses are free and trains are free, it just means the homeless move in. They have a mobile, shelter essentially. I don't remember if it was Boston because I I think it was like a couple streams ago. I mentioned that when I was 13, I was visiting my brother in Boston, and we were riding the subway, and a bum got on. And I don't know if their trains were free or if there was like super cheap, but when you have something that is kind of cost prohibitive, it does keep the riffraff out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's been some
Then you
examples
just have
of part
turnstile
two.
jumpers actually chancing getting arrested if anybody would actually enforce the law.
Right.
I think
And
the one-
there's also been instances with Barton, California, where people get assaulted quite often, and there's also, I believe, homeless on those trains as well.
I think the one factor that people need to take under consideration is Mamdani is Obama 2.0. So the way the Democrats work, and they've always worked, is they find candidates to grow around. So the establishment pretty much boosted this guy Mamdani up because they have great aspirations for him. They want him to run for president or vice president in the future. They want him to be like a power player. So, you see this with Democrats where they find one or two or three people, like that lady from Texas, Crockett. They're
Jasmine.
like,
Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett. We're gonna put all our ducks in a row for this person and boost them up. And I think Mamdani's the same. They want to use him in the future, and they put all their resources into this race to build him up. So,
Well, there is a whole wing and apparatus of the Democrat Party that is definitely pretty happy with him going in. That would
Right.
include Bernie and AOC. But there seems to be a wing that's also scared to death of him going in. They're just not saying it real loud because that's why Cuomo and Adams
I'll tell you
were
what,
working
when
so hard to keep him out.
you can say it out loud. The Jewish wing of the Democratic Party is scared shitless of Mamdani getting in there because he represents the worst part, and he does it with a smile, of the anti-Semitic
right.
liberal socialist.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, shall we move over to Mikey Sherrill and Jack Chittarelli?
Sounds good.
Over there for Kalshi, we've got Sherrill at 84%, Chittarelli at 17%. The polling average for the last week was 50 for Sherrill, 46 for Chittarelli. And I think that one is actually in striking distance, even though Kalshi says not. But Dr. Jones, I think this is kind of the race that you were keeping your eyes closest on and had
Right.
information that you wanted to go over on this one, right?
Right. There are two factors in play that I want you to pay attention to. The first factor is Atlas Intel basically has this as a dead heat horse race. And I feel that this race is going to have this, this is going to be the Scott Pressler effect. 2024, it was Pennsylvania. This year, it'll be New Jersey. There are a lot of people on the ground in New Jersey. There are a lot of people doing a lot of movements and trying to get people to come out to vote. I think Republicans win this one for those two factors. I think, yeah, like I said, Atlas Intel, dead heat. Number two, the Scott Pressler effect, I think. But a thing to keep an eye on is, remember 2021. It was a super close race, and Citarelli was like leading, and then Murphy out of the blue through mail-in votes won the race. So I could see that happening again. That would be the only way that Sherrill wins.
Yeah, Chittarelli took it to a 3-point race last time with Murphy, and that was expected to be a double-digit trouncing.
Right. There was some fishy stuff going on at the end of that in 21. So I think with the DOJ sending observers, I mean, they need to be in every corner watching so that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and I know they're sending a few out. I don't know. They weren't sending them to every polling place, just ones that have had situations in the past.
Yeah.
So
there's a comment here by Mark Dolly. He says, "Don't fall for the New Jersey fool's gold. Jersey Dems political machine is well oiled," and that's pretty damn right. It's a well oiled machine, and but I think Scott Pressler is going to pull it out. I think he did a lot of work. So
I
that's my
hope
take.
so. It has pulled a lot closer. So the reason we're going over the polls this week is because this is really the last polling before the races actually happen. So this is where most pollsters try to get it as accurate as they can, rather than having huge gaps that they might be proven dead wrong on. They tend to tighten right there at the end.
Right.
So with it being 4 points, that's right near the margin of error. I did see the Atlas thing as well, and I think that one's 50-49.
I mean, if you look at 2024, right, Pennsylvania, I think Scott Presler shocked a lot of people. I mean, I think they, you think of the Senators race with McCormick when he won. They weren't expecting McCormick to win. They didn't think Scott Presler, signing all of these Amish people to vote. That had a big effect, and they won 2 House seats and a Senate seat because they underestimated the Republicans. So,
And don't sleep on Charlie Kirk and Turning Point getting in there too.
True.
They were
that's
in
very
there
true.
beyond. They were helping,
Right.
they were working with Pressler to do that.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it was a coordinated effort. But I think the same thing's going to happen in New Jersey. That's my upset pick. Is I think Citarelli's going to win. So
Okay.
I hope so.
I hope so, because I mean the 2 governors races really do. If the Republicans can get those governorships, that says that the country's not automatically turning on Trump like everybody keeps saying that they are, and that everything's in disarray, because you win a few more races and it shows that the electorate really has kind of shifted their minds on things.
I would also
think that-
point. Oh, go ahead. I was going to say that if you look at New Jersey and Virginia also, and it, outside of polling, which is universally trying to show, that the Democratic candidate is going to win clean. Look at their actions versus what the public polling is saying. If you look at Virginia, Sponberger, according to public polling, is supposed to be up anywhere from 10 to 12 points.
52-43.
Yeah. I think that's the average, but yeah.
Yeah.
But if someone's up that high, you're not breaking out Obama, doing multiple events. You're like they are
Internal polling
acting,
is showing something different than what we're
Yes.
seeing in polling.
So, and what I think it is not so much as internal polling, and this is, we talked about it last week when I was talking about enthusiasm, right? And I know that just being on the ground in Virginia, all the right places have signs up on the street, but nobody likes Sponberg. Nobody in the, even the Democratic people, they went with her because she's supposed to be the most inoffensive. She's the Tim Kaine, a candidate where she doesn't ever, stick with you, but she's inoffensive, and she has she has security and credentials and CIA credentials, and they all look good. She was a government employee, et cetera, et cetera. But if you look at how they're acting, they are working their ass off to try to pull her over the line. I think they've already, sacrificed.
I think they've lost Jay Jones.
Well, yeah, they've pretty much written that off, because they're not running ads for you can see Jason Mears running ads. Jay Jones doesn't have any money. All the advertising is Sponberger or Winsome Sears, mostly Sponberger. She's got way more money than
And the polling in the Jay Jones, that one has flipped. Jay Jones is polling to lose now.
Yeah, I don't see him pulling it out.
Yeah. And this is something that, and people think that this is, Virginia has done this before, where they have split the attorney general off from the other candidates statewide. This happened when, I think when McDonnell was governor, we had a Democrat attorney general. And, Virginia is one of the weird states where, especially the highly compensated and assholey government workers will, try to be like, well, I split the ticket. I'm a discerning voter. I'm not going to vote straight party line. And Jay Jones is the sacrificial lamb to, that they're going to be like, well, we didn't vote for him. He was, he was a bridge too far. Look how refined we are. We didn't vote for political violence, but we voted for Sponberger, who supported all that stuff. So I think New Jersey is a cleaner situation because Sherrill they're both ass candidates. They both came into the Congress at the same class. They were part of the 2018 wave where Pelosi specifically recruited candidates, and Sponberger, she never won clean. Like, she was losing a very close election until they found a USB drive with more votes. And
Oh.
anytime a former CIA person is involved and that's what happens, I get very suspicious. I
Right.
also like that. I don't know if it's happening in. I know the concerns about mail-in voting, but Virginia doesn't really have mail-in voting. Youngkin has been very strong on putting in some reforms. It's all paper ballots. It's all in person. Early voting requires ID. There's a lot
I
of
think that's the one
precautions.
state. I think that's the one major race that the DOJ hasn't indicated that they're going to be sending poll watchers
Yeah.
from the DOJ specifically, because I don't think they have as much concern on that stuff.
Well, there's all. I mean, look, honestly, if they end up losing, the institutional advantage in Virginia is stronger than it is in New Jersey at this point.
So, what's your feeling on the race?
My feeling
Sears
is
going to
that
pull it out or not?
no, I think Sears still loses.
I
I think
so
it ends
too.
up being. It ends up being closer.
What about the
But
lieutenant governor race? What do you
I
think?
think lieutenant governor is going to be closer than governor because Hashmi is a bit and she said
She's
some
pretty
crazy
bad.
shit on, and going back to when she was a state delegate about parental rights specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But my guess is if I had to
And
put
sexual education
yeah,
or
if
sexual material in schools, all that kind of stuff.
if I was putting money on it, if I had to put a bet on it, I would say Jones loses, Myers stays as attorney general. Lieutenant governor is close, like 50-49 kind of thing, but
Toss up.
Hashmi still wins, and Spongberger wins by like 4. But the thing is, the enthusiasm is so low. I could totally see it end up being really close, and Winsome could put it up, but if I wouldn't put money on it. Now the thing is, Myers coming in as Attorney General might save Virginia from the redistricting because he can go in and fight in court that the election was already ongoing when it comes to doing this constitutional amendment, so they can't end run it.
Right. We talked a little bit about that last week. Do you want to just do a quick rundown of how that works in Virginia? Because you have to have, what, 2 different elections?
The way a constitutional amendment works in Virginia is you have the state legislature passes it, the governor doesn't have to sign it. Then there has to be a statewide election allowing for the election of a new legislature, and then the legislature has to pass it again. And if it's passed in those 2 non-consecutive legislative sessions, it can then be put no quicker than 90 days on the ballot for voters to approve the constitutional amendment. Now, this time they're doing the special session to do it, but early voting opened up in Virginia September 19th.
Right. So they wouldn't be able to count this one as the first
They're trying to
legislative
count
body,
it.
right?
The Democrats say there's no problem because election day is November 4th.
Right.
So
Right.
so they
Even
don't
though
see a
voting has
problem.
begun.
Yes, they're counting official election day, not when early voting started.
Don't you know, man? They make up the rules as we go along, man.
Exactly. So
Pretty much.
because I don't think this would pass under normal like if you put it on, what they want to do is get this on the ballot, not just on a special election, not just to make it in time for 2026 elections. They want to make it so that it's a special election so they can try to run their turnout machine in Fairfax County and Arlington and Alexandria, and hopefully the rural voters aren't as enthused because they don't do weeks of early voting where the rural voters have plenty of time to go vote. It's just a single election day that would randomly happen in like June. and
Yeah.
and the turnout in Virginia special elections is like ridiculously low because nobody's even taking care of it. So they're trying to sneak it in, because if it was put to the ballot in a regular general election, they would probably lose because the voters in general aren't, even Democratic ones aren't super enthusiastic about making a one Republican Congress setup where it's a 10-1.
Right.
So I don't think that. So that there's a lot of things that are moving parts to try to do it. Now the quickest best way is if Winsome pulls off the crazy upset. If my personal feelings and notation and what is it, anecdotal evidence that Spawnberger does not get anybody enthusiastic, just like Terry McAuliffe didn't get anybody enthusiastic to actually vote, could help her actually win.
Well, one
Maybe.
thing about the Democrats is the one thing I've noticed is they're all hype. Oh, we're gonna do this. We're gonna, Trump is unpopular. Da 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 da. But when it comes down to it, it's usually 50-50, you know?
Yeah.
They're a hype machine, It's,
So ultimately, the feeling is Mom Donnie wins going away.
yeah,
Chitterelli has a toss-up chance. Spanberger is likely.
right.
That's where I would put it.
So I guess we'll all be watching on Tuesday night to see what happens.
Should be interesting.
Anything else about the election night stuff we want to cover? Or?
I think with the New Jersey race, one thing you're going to notice is the red mirage. So you're going to see him go up and then, maybe lead by 4 or 5%. And then it's going to trickle down. And this is where you got to start asking, is the machine working? Is the machine well oiled? Don't know. Like I said, New Jersey's a toss up, but just kind of watch how it goes throughout the night.
Well, I believe what they've said so far is early voting, it's been almost even. And Chitterelli expects to get about 60% of the day of vote. And that's kind of the numbers that are expected.
Well, the question is if
in
they've
New
built
Jersey.
their firewall on the mail-in voting
Right.
sufficient. They had a little over 200,000 in advantage from the mail-in voting.
Yeah.
So where is the machine going to break in New Jersey? Ideas?
Well, probably not at one of them that the DOJ has poll watchers at.
Right.
But there's plenty of them.
Paramus. Anyway.
I'm sure it'll be free and fair elections, guys. Everything will be fine.
Right.
Yeah. Copy Kitty for $10 says, "Is there any chance of a redistricting fail here in California?"
Hell
She
no.
asked,
Not even. Nope.
Sadly,
Nope. It's in the bag. I think Orange County, there's like 90,000 Republicans that haven't even voted.
Right.
I mean, they've demoralized the Republicans so much in
Governor
California.
Bateman has it in the bag. So
It's a lot like New York City.
Governor Bateman.
it's true.
I know it's accurate. It's very accurate. I just think it's funny whenever people point that out.
Yeah, I just don't see any way that one doesn't go through in California. So,
God, Gavin Newsom's such an asshole. I hate that guy. Oh,
I just
Well,
love when he
we've
gets
only
so
got 3
pissed
more
off
years
about
of
like
him running for
Texas and
president.
Florida.
that smug son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Did you know
My
that he
favorite
grew up
was
poor
how
and
he
ate
was
mac and
talking about.
cheese?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. The whole thing where he was basically pretending like he raised himself and wasn't his
Latchkey
dad didn't
kid.
work. Yeah, his dad didn't work for some like big oil company and they had a lot of money. Yeah.
No,
Do you see that?
not just a big oil company. He was Getty's attorney.
Yes, Getty.
Like Getty,
I was trying. I
like the
could not
richest
remember.
man in the world, Getty.
Yeah.
They were handling almost $4 billion in assets.
You see
Yeah.
that crap he pulled in Halloween where he's like, oh, look at Trump. He's doing a great Gatsby. I'm like, you jerk. You did a French laundry during COVID. Get out of here, hypocrite.
Yeah.
You
Well, and there was a whole bunch of people on Twitter, throwing a fit about Trump having people, performing at that event as well.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you know what the difference is? We don't have a whole bunch of guys doing sexual dances in front of little kids.
Yeah.
All I saw was adults at that party. That was an adult party.
Yeah, but
There may have
come
been
on,
kids,
Brahma.
but I didn't see any anywhere. It's not
Th-
like
but
they
there-
were front row putting dollar bills in people's G-strings.
But there weren't any tranny titties. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, Biden had that, but that was Easter. I mean, it wasn't Halloween, which
You
makes
mean
it better.
Trans Visibility Day
Yeah. Was it trans visibility? I thought
Yeah.
it was Easter.
was Easter.
It was Easter, but he declared it a new trans holiday.
No, that's right. That's right. I've actually forgotten about that.
Then he had the tranny on the lawn, and the tranny decided to show off its boob job.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. My God, he tore down the the East Wing, but you put a pride flag on the White House, you clowns.
Did you
Yeah.
guys see today the White House website with the My Safe Space for Dems page?
No.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty
Oh
funny.
gosh, let me send it to anybody who hasn't seen it. So I just thought of it because I shared it today, and one of my friends who's kind of in the leftist cult and is always criticizing my posts on Facebook, he was like, "This is disgraceful," and I was just thinking, like, you guys support cutting off kids' genitals, having trannies on the White House lawn for Easter,
Right.
like, and you think this comedy site is disgraceful? I mean, it's unbalanced. Here, I'll
That'll
send it.
Well,
actually lead us nicely into a side topic we had for tonight, or that I had come up with for tonight. So
Yeah,
let me
this is
pull that up real quick.
it's My Safe Space for Dems, and it's about the shutdown, and you have to have the sound on. It's better with the sound on.
Okay. Give me just a sec to pull it up, and we'll see if it'll play for me, because usually it does not.
It's a real page on the on the White House site.
that's hilarious.
And
I
the
love
links
that.
work. The level of detail in the comedy on this page is what I love. Like they made all the links work. Whoever
There's the music for it.
Oh my god. Oh, that's beautiful. They brought the sombreros back.
Yeah. The Democrats shut it down. Male, 55 years old, Brooklyn, New York. Last working day, 10/1/2025. Hakeem's latest blog entries.
Oh my god, that's
Hakeem's blurbs.
fantastic.
Hey, we're Democrats in the House and Senate. We love DEI, transgender for everyone, and handing out taxpayer benefits to illegal immigrants. We couldn't care less if our men and women in uniform get paid or if our neighborhoods are safe. We just love playing politics with people's livelihoods.
look at his friends.
It's
His
like a
friends.
throwback to
Joe Biden
not
and it's a
Facebook, but
picture of the auto
MySpace.
pin. Yeah, MySpace.
Maryland.
Joe
Dad.
Biden and it's the auto pin. Fenty Girl, Antifa, George Soros, Tampon Tim, Maryland Dad, Real Chucky, and Chucky.
And look at his favorite books on the left. His favorite books are the Antifa Handbook, the Communist Manifesto, and
Rules for Radicals.
Rules for Radicals.
That's pretty good.
My
But
safe
somebody was
space,
coming at you for
it's
that
great.
being evil.
Oh, he just said, anybody who thinks this funny is in a cult. You're all in a Trump cult, and this is disgraceful that a president would act like this. It's so disgraceful. And I was just like, gosh, this is a little bit disproportionate, dude. Like,
Do you know what's disgraceful, Keri? Voting for a president that has dementia.
Exactly. There's so many things I can point to that I'm like, that he doesn't think are disgraceful, but this comedy is too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me bring up what is actually disgraceful. And I don't know how many people have seen this yet, but a study came out that has been going a little bit viral. And it's really disgusting. So, a new study shows that abortion wiped out 28% of Generation Z.
Wow.
Wow. That is over a quarter of that generation.
From 1997 to 2011, it is estimated that 19.5 million babies were aborted in the U.S. The population of Gen Z in the U.S. is about 69.3 million. So, yeah, 28%. Statistics from England and Wales are similar. So, I would say the West has a problem, and we've been shouting about it for years, and that problem is abortion.
Yeah.
But that's what I would call truly evil. 3 in 10 kids aborted from a generation.
3 in 10. Wow.
It's the depopulation agenda right there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
it certainly is.
And there are links to the actual study and everything in there. So I did check to make sure that it wasn't just BS that was just going around viral. It appears to be a true study.
Wow.
It is using estimates of abortions, but either way, that's pretty bad. And I'd say that's far more disgusting than anything that Trump has done with comedy on a website, even if it's the White House website.
That's too fucking high. Too fucking high.
Yeah, safe, legal, and rare.
Yeah. So much for the rare part. I mean, 28%, or that's not rare.
Yeah, that Davina's got it right. That's abortion as birth control.
Yeah.
Right. You know what's disgusting is some of those women are wearing shirts saying, "Oh, I had 7 abortions and I'm proud of it," or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shouting your abortion stuff.
Right.
Or having abortion parties the same way that they now have divorce parties and everything else.
Chelsea Handler.
Mm-hmm.
What, she have an abortion party?
No, she had abortions and she says it's like she's proud of it, and she said she'd do it again. And
I mean, she's also sad and lonely, and you
Right.
know, pretty much a disgusting human being. But
Yep.
Who was that unfunny female comedian? Don't all shout names at once because there's a
Kelsey
lot.
Handler.
But
Amy Schumer.
Amy
no,
Schumer, yeah.
the one
Sarah
that had
Silverman.
her last name was Fox, and she had a late night show briefly. Michelle Fox or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And she did the whole tribute to abortion thing on her late night show.
Oh, that
Yep.
one. Yeah. She was
She
on
didn't last
TBS or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Samantha Bee?
No,
That's
she
the one
did.
who called Ivanka a feckless cunt.
There's so many unfunny women who
yeah,
hosted late night.
Samantha Bee is a real good example of that.
I think it was it Michelle Wolf?
Wolf. I thought Fox, but yeah, Wolf. Michelle Wolf.
Yeah.
I've never heard of her.
That sounds right to me.
She did a lot of comedy for Obama, like political things and stuff, like the Rose, and then she was one of these women who was just handed this late night show and it bombed. But she had this thing that was like a celebration of abortion, and people came out in costumes, dancing, and it was supposed to be, it
Like
was
coming
just-
out as aborted fetuses. I mean, what?
No, they were coming out in like red, white, and blue, and doing, basically like abortion is an American tradition, kind of a celebration. It was
What?
yes,
Think
Disgusting.
the Vax dance from Colbert.
yes.
Jesus.
It was called Salute to Abortions. I just found it. Yeah. Anyway,
God.
there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that
Tina's saying
cultural stuff.
Samantha Fox, and is the one that's is Fox.
Davina
it's
says
Michelle
Michelle
Wolf.
Wolf made the abortion joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Michelle Wolf, Samantha Fox.
Wow.
Yep. So since I hadn't seen that study go real crazy over on Twitter in our little area, I figured I'd call some attention to that because that's truly worrisome. And it fits right in, as Dr. Jones said, with the depopulation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we need to bring back shame in this country. We really do. I mean, that's what stopped humanity from making so many bad fucking decisions, was shaming people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is one of her jokes. Mike Pence is also very anti-choice. He thinks abortion is murder, which, first of all, don't knock it until you try it. And when you try it, really knock it. You got to get the baby out of there. What a
Yeah.
bitch.
Ha ha.
Wow, that's so funny.
Yeah. See, that the thing about leftists, and having been one, I think I can speak to this, is that when I was in that cult, they don't look at the consequences of what they say their intentions are. And so the ones who are still in that cult, who are well-meaning, and they're, believe it or not, there are still a few, I think, who are just misguided and haven't woken up yet. But for the most part, most liberals have left now. But for the ones who are still in there and who mean well, back when they were saying stuff like, we need to make abortion safe, legal, and rare, a lot of them believed that. I believed that. I believed
No, I mean,
that
I did
list.
too. I mean, I wouldn't consider
Yeah.
myself a leftist, but back then I believed it too. And
Right.
now it's gotten out of control. It's like it's not what
Yes.
we were sold this out as, and it's disgusting.
Well,
It's
Colorado
absolutely
just
disgusting.
raised it to what, 37 weeks? I mean, most preemies that are born at that point are capable of surviving.
Well, I mean, they want abortion to the point of birth. I mean,
Right.
we
They
I
have
have
it in a few
know this.
places.
They deny it, but they we all know they want it.
Comics, I have an interesting story for you. When I told you I was a democratic socialist back in 2013,
Right.
but I was always pro-life. That's one issue I've never wavered on. And I had a discussion with a friend where I was like, she was pro-choice all the way up to birth. And I said, so you're telling me that if a baby's viable at 8 months and 3 weeks, the mother has a right to kill it, and she's like, yeah, it's not a human being yet. And
That's it's funny. I had a Democratic friend. He was adopted, and we were talking, and we got on the topic of abortion. He's like, "Yeah, I'm pro-life." I'm like, "Why are you pro-life?" It's like, "You're a Democrat." He's like, "Do you really have to ask that question?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that totally makes sense," because he was adopted.
Right. Somebody decided not to abort him.
Yeah.
And just to kind of work off this, look at Canada, realize that they don't want to stop with abortion. They want to be able to kill someone anytime,
Yeah.
for any reason. You stubbed your toe. You're feeling sad today.
Have you thought
here's
about killing yourself?
Here's a pamphlet. We can put you in tomorrow. We've got an opening. You'll be gone, and the world will be there.
Did
I
you
don't
lose your
understand.
job and you're about to not be able to make rent this month? Have you
thought about
considered
suicide?
Maid?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Soylent Green?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
They are
Remember,
actually.
that's where we're no. So when Edward Gene Robinson's character Saul kills himself, he goes into this center where he basically is euthanized. And
Right.
he watches Beethoven with nature and then he's dead. And then they make the crackers. They're made of people. So
Yeah.
that's
Well, the
coming.
thing that I thought was pretty disgusting was there was a military veteran in Canada. I think she was, bound to a wheelchair, and she was basically promised a motorized wheelchair, and she basically was calling, to say, "Where's my damn wheelchair?" And they're like, "Well, have you thought about Maid?"
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
that
some
is
of
an
their
actual.
military members, they, requesting handicap access because they've had legs blown off or something. And they're like, well, I mean,
Have you thought about
isn't it
Maid?
cheaper just to give up?
It's a depopulation.
It may take
agenda.
us 6 months to get you handicap access at your house.
Right.
So we
I
have a
think-
choice.
I just looked up about Colorado since you guys were talking about how many weeks. This says that there's no gestational limit at all.
There may not be anymore. I
Anymore.
mean, we've gone
So-
so far blue.
That's insane. So they can have an abortion right up to and including the time
Moment
of
of
birth.
birth.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that had gotten through yet. I knew 37 weeks is where they had.
Oh,
been at.
but Brahma, I mean, those are lies from the Republicans. I mean, they're not for abortion all the way to birth.
Yeah. And they would probably deny that if the baby somehow was born at a moment of birth abortion, that they just let the baby cry and die on a table, cold.
Jesus.
But we've seen that in other states.
That's
right,
the
Chad?
Ralph Northam.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know,
Well,
one,
make
of
the baby comfortable and make a decision.
the things that happened after
He's an OBGYN, by the way.
Are you serious?
You didn't know that? Yeah. He's,
No, I didn't. I did not
Governor
know that.
Blackface is a OBGYN.
Holy shit.
What were you saying, Keri?
one of the things that happened after Charlie Kirk's assassination is I think a lot of people like myself started watching a lot of his old clips and videos of him talking to college students, and he was so great at what he did. And when he talked about abortion, I actually learned a lot just from watching him talk to these students. I didn't know, and he said this often, there's like 2 million couples on the list who want to adopt a baby. And that's twice the number of abortions that are performed every year. And so
Well,
one of the things they always say is, you guys don't care about the babies once they're born. It's like, look, there's 2 million couples waiting
yeah.
who would like to adopt a baby.
Well, and again, that it's that misconception, right? They have like this view of the right where it's like you don't want to do anything. It's like you want to have these kids born, but you don't want to do anything to feed them or help them after they're born. And it's like that's actually not the case. That is basically a very big misconception that the left has about the right.
Correct. There are lots of people who want to adopt.
Have you guys
There are
ever
lots
seen
of-
that? Have you guys ever seen that meme where it shows 3 women from the West and then 3 women in like the Mideast, Africa, and the 3 women in the West are at an abortion clinic, and the 3 women in the global South are at a delivery or OBGYN about to deliver their babies. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
I'll have to
haven't seen
send
it.
it to you. I don't have it with me, but it's pretty striking. I
I have to say, Dr. Jones, I saw this recently. I had a myomectomy, which is a surgery where you remove fibroids. And anyway, I had to go to the OBGYN several times before the surgery. And every time I sat in the office, Austin has had this influx of Indian immigrants who've
Right.
moved to Austin.
Mhm.
And the whole lobby, like the whole lobby as you're waiting, is full of pregnant women. And I would say 80% of them were Indian. And I'm like, where are all the white ladies at? Like,
Yep.
where's all the white ladies at?
Yeah, they've all been aborted.
I mean, statistically, you talk about the globalists, they've really put a lot of pressure on Western countries, and they've used abortion as population control because they want this, the global South to grow. So when you're in Africa or the Mideast, you're not going to see, abort your kid, or pro-choice, or, you try to have those
Yeah,
kids,
those aren't the places where we're facing population decline.
right.
But I guess that can lead us into the next topic. They are kind of in a death cult.
Yep.
The left has become a death cult. I mean, between abortion and the assassination culture, that's what it seems to fit most right now.
Mhm.
So last week we had the U.S. Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on the Constitution hold a hearing titled "Politically Violent Attacks: A Threat to Our Constitutional Order," to examine the rise of political violence, its ideological drivers, and threats to democratic institutions. So in this hearing, they did have a few witnesses. We'll watch a few clips from Michael Knowles, who was a witness there. But Republicans focused mostly on the left-wing rhetoric and actions, and Democrats insisted it's a both sides issue and repeatedly brought up January 6th over and over
Of course.
and over. It's all they've got. But here is Knowles' opening statement, or at least a portion of it. Slightly longer clip, about 2 minutes, so bear with us. It's he does a pretty good job,
suggested that we condemn political violence,
but it
which
has
surely
very
we
low
must all
volume
do.
apparently.
But
Let's
then
see
he
if I can-
suggested that we not try to pinpoint exactly which side the violence comes from. This seems to me confusing and misbegotten, as one cannot solve a problem if one does not know where the problem lies. In light of the murder of my friend Charlie Kirk by a leftist assassin, I am gratified to see that at least some members of our federal legislature are now confronting the consistent and escalating pattern of left-wing terrorism in the country. Lest I be accused of partisan invective, on September 23rd, no less an emblem of American liberalism than The Atlantic magazine published an article citing a recent study from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, admitting that the left is more violent today than the right. Less honest liberals, including members of Congress, continue to deny this fact. Democrat Congressman Seth Moulton, for example, reacted to Charlie's assassination by blaming the right. Congressman Moulton claimed that 3/4 of political violence in the United States comes from the right, while only 4% comes from the left. That claim struck me, as it probably does many of you, as suspect. So I looked into just a few recent examples that came to mind of prominent left-on-right violence. The Covenant School Massacre in Nashville, in which a trans-identifying shooter murdered Christian school children after outlining her ideological motivations. According to authorities, there was no ideological motive there. Go figure. The Black Lives Matter riots, overtly leftist demonstrations that left dozens of people dead and over $1 billion worth of property damage. Likewise, those fail to show up on registers of left-wing political violence. Even an attack by Antifa that targeted me personally, as well as conservative college students for our political views, appeared in official records and data sets as nothing more than obstructing law enforcement. It turns out the left commits relatively little political violence when you don't count the political violence that the left commits.
That's funny.
Yeah, an excellent point. It's a point we've been making since Charlie. I mean, when they had all those studies coming out, well, all of it's right wing. It's all coming from the right. It's always more violence there. They don't count anything on the left.
No, they don't. Well, and a lot of it too is that they consider anything that is an act of violence or anti-government to be right wing. So Antifa gets labeled as being right wing because they're considered to be anti-government.
Right. And any Islamic violence is also attributed
Considered
to
to
the
be
right wing.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. I didn't know if that was necessarily relevant, but yes, that's also correct.
All you need to do is go through Reddit for 5 minutes. There you go.
Oh, we're going to go through a couple clips from this week of Don Lemon and Jennifer Welch.
Have you been
Welch
on
is,
Reddit? Have you been on Reddit lately?
I try to
I
stay
have.
away from Reddit as much as possible.
It's
It
a
is-
it's a bloodbath of conservative hate and violence towards conservatives, not by
Yeah.
conservatives. Just to make that clear.
The only
They-
one I do go into is the conservative, subreddit, and all it is leftists constantly attacking anything that's said in there.
Right.
Go ahead, Keri. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I was just agreeing about Reddit. I do go there to get kind of the pulse of what's happening on the left, and it's a depressing place to be. But they also censor. I've been banned from the Texas forums and the Austin forums several times, and not for anything that would be legitimate. It's just for posting studies and disagreeing. If you present a conservative point of view, you will get banned. The moderators are leftists. While the leftists in those forums are able to say explicitly racist things and talk about people they wish were dead and all this stuff that I would never do and have never done. It's kind of crazy. It's just a little echo chamber of hatred. And they post, at least in the Austin forum, they go in and post whenever they see ICE agents. And they all talk about they even like openly, they're not afraid of it. They post like strategy on, here they are, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do that, find out what hotels they're staying at when they're in town. They go outside their hotel windows and make noise and try to keep them awake all night. Like they organize all this harassment of ICE agents, like just right out in the open.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
It's a national security risk.
Yeah.
Reddit needs to get the TikTok treatment. I mean, it's a wasteland of just hate and violence.
I mean, as bad as 4chan is, Reddit is pretty much right there with them on most things. It's just a lot more out in the open than 4chan is. Dr. Jones, do you mind if I share your Twitter handle in chat? Because there's a few people who are asking.
Yeah, go ahead.
There you guys go.
got-
Let's watch.
I
Oh,
got
go ahead.
I don't know if I should say this. Well, so one of my gig jobs, I work different events and stuff like that, and I got hired to work at this private Reddit moderator event for where they flew in all of these mods, and and they had promised them all, like they kind of put forward this idea that they're in danger, that these leftist Reddit mods are in danger from
Oh, good
conservatives.
Lord.
And they're like, we will ensure the utmost security. We're going to have armed security guards there, and your real names will be protected. You just give your mod handle at the door and all this stuff. And it was just an interesting thing being like a little Trojan horse there that night.
Nobody gives a shit about these people.
I know, nobody gives
Yeah.
a crap. And there were a lot of trans women, like a lot of men who
surprise.
identify
Wow.
as. Yeah, it was. I mean, they were all friendly to me because they have no idea what I think about things. But
The smell must have been horrible.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed asking all of them, like, "What organization is it? What do you guys do?" And they're like, "Oh, we work for Reddit." And I was like, "What's that?"
Oh. Okay.
and they're like,
That's
it's
cool.
a popular message board. It's a community board. It's where you meet people and have conversations. And I was like, "Oh, weren't you guys in the news because that killer in Idaho was like, aren't there like murderers on your site?" And they're like, "Oh, what?" Because that murderer in Idaho was on Reddit. Anyway.
Oh, I think I have heard of you guys.
Oh, I did hear. Weren't you guys in the news because that murderer was there?
Yep.
What was the reaction to that?
Oh, a couple of the nerd guys are like, "Oh, well, that's not really what we do." I'm like, okay. It was just
I mean,
funny. Was like,
to be fair, I mean that's kind of
I know.
accurate, but
it's true. It's not.
it's
not.
it's funny to troll them like that.
It was really funny to troll them as if that's the only time I've heard Reddit. But
All right, so we've got another clip of Noel's, little bit shorter clip, but this is the one where he gets Cory Booker. So it's worth watching because it was kind of hilarious.
I think Senator Booker made a good point just a moment ago when he said we have to self-examine, we have to be introspective. And, I can't help but think of a line today. Jay Jones has the vision, commitment, and integrity to keep families safe and make sure every Virginian gets a fair shake in the justice system. I'll be working every day to ensure Jay wins this race. That's the endorsement of Senator Booker for a man who would seek to be the Attorney General of Virginia. This is a man who, if people have not been reading the news, has called for a Republican to be murdered, for his children to be murdered, for the children to die in their mother's arms in order to persuade the Republican to change his policy views, and a man who says that he would urinate on the graves of multiple Republicans. Senator Booker, in this spirit of introspection, is standing by this endorsement. So I suppose I would invite, perhaps I should have looked, because Senator Booker has left the room, and I think I can guess why. Senator Booker.
He got up and ran out of the room.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
It was hilarious.
I think, should practice what he preaches, because this is the kind of moment. You cannot have a professor who wants to teach students and is going to desire to kill half of them. You certainly cannot have law enforcement officers who would engage in this kind of violent rhetoric against half of their constituents. So long as anyone stands by an endorsement such as that, their words are meaningless. They are shedding crocodile tears on the topic of political violence.
Did you see the person sitting down behind him that had a mask on?
Yeah. And apparently, as important a topic as this is, there was only maybe one or two Democrats up at the dais at any given time. They all just kept leaving the room in between spouting their stuff about it's both sides, January 6th.
Whatever.
Because Knowles went on to talk about it afterwards, saying, yeah, they didn't want to hear anything that we were saying.
Oh,
And then the witness that they brought was one of the law enforcement officers on Jan 6th. So he just talked about how traumatized he was.
That's the strategy, man. If they lose an argument, Jan 6,
Yeah. So in light of that hearing, some other clips real quick from this week that went semi-viral. One is a new up-and-coming podcaster, I guess, for the left, but complete psychopath. And the other one is Don Lemon, who I don't know what is going on with the way he's pronouncing words, but we'll take a look at it real quick.
Black people, brown people of all stripes, whether you're an Indian American or a Mexican American or whoever you are, go out in your place where you live and get a gun legally, get a license to carry legally. Because when you have people knocking on your door and taking you away without due process as a citizen, isn't that what the Second Amendment was written for? Go back and read what the Second Amendment says.
Can
And
you pause it real
perhaps
quick?
it will knock.
I would like Don Lemon to politely review the instances where any person takes a shot at law enforcement executing no-knock warrants or ATF raids and see how well the Second Amendment works for keeping them out of jail. This is the worst advice on God's green earth. Because in some states, in some instances, the judges who are rational will help and dismiss charges against people under the auspices that they had the ability to defend themselves in the cases of no-knock warrants when police...
Breonna Taylor.
But 9 out of 10 times, law enforcement is not held accountable for that, and you will be charged.
Yeah, so it depends on the state, because I know that there was an instance in Texas where there was a no-knock warrant, and I think they got the wrong house too. And they
get the wrong house all the time.
Yeah, and the individual shot a police officer, and he was basically, I don't think he was even charged.
It's funny because Dr. Jones shared about how COVID was kind of, and the coming away from the socialist kind of mindset. One thing that kind of moved me away from always, back the blue was COVID, and seeing how uniformly across jurisdictions, whether it was blue state, red state, whatever state, the average rank and file police officer didn't give a shit and would go out and kick kids off playgrounds, like arrest
Bury
mothers on
skate
beaches
parks.
Yeah.
and skate park. I mean, I lost so much respect for the average law. Now for me, I'm not, I'm not a part of the all cops are bastards, kind of thing, but I do believe that for most rank and file police officers, they will enforce what they're told. It will be the rare exception where they will protect your actual constitutional rights. And COVID was my wake up call on that, because I thought, silly me, in the United States, most police officers would rationally say, no, we can't shut down places of worship. We can't keep people from congregating and exercising their First Amendment rights to practice their religion or to, ask for redresses against government. And those same rank and file police officers stood down across the country when it came to the Floyd riots.
Yeah, I wonder
When
how
they
many we lost, how many good ones we lost during the Summer of Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was in the 90s. There was a incident where, again, involves a no-knock warrant. They got the wrong house. They shot the family dog. They tore up their property. One of the officers picked up a guitar, started singing about shooting the dog. And when they went to go and try and, I'm not gonna say sue the city, but basically demand that they pay for the damages, the police didn't. The other thing too is civil forfeitures. Those are the two things. That,
They would have said that all of that fell under what's considered what is it, sovereign immunity or
yeah,
or
It's not sovereign, but
it's,
I can't remember.
qualified immunity.
qualified immunity.
Yeah,
Which,
and
luckily, and this is a part where I think there is a lot of crossover. See, this is the parts where you can find crossover amongst a lot of libertarian, conservative, and even leftist, which is civil. The qualified immunity is abused to protect bad police officers
Right.
all the time, and I think there. And civil forfeiture is another thing where I think there is a large swath of the general public who, when they hear about what happens in civil forfeiture, would be rightly shocked about how terrible it is. Where the burden is put on the person whose assets are seized to try to prove that they were legitimate. And even once they prove they are legitimate, they still only get a portion, if they're lucky, back.
yeah, and the biggest issue with that is a lot of police departments actually use civil forfeitures to go and fund their departments, and that's criminal in my opinion.
I think
Go ahead.
Copy Kitty in the chat has a great comment. There's little incentive for good cops to stay. And I think that's true. I know in Austin, a lot of cops left during, like you mentioned, the Summer of Love. They left during the defund the police era, and cutting funding. And so I think there's a lot of cops who are just saying, I'm done with this. That's certainly going to happen in New York when Mom Tommy's elected.
There is that, but I've also talked with my cousin who was a county sheriff, and I asked him, why are you still doing it? I mean, this was right after Floyd and everything, and everything was popping off, and he was like, well, because I actually believe in what we do. So the good ones aren't necessarily going to just quit because they actually do believe that they are making a difference in the community. And if you just leave the police force to the bad apples, everything gets worse for everybody. They recognize that too. They know there's bad apples all over the place.
I will say that I believe sheriff's departments tend to be more responsive to public because they are elected directly. Whereas once you start getting into the quote unquote professional police department and you start making them their own bureaucratic entity that is completely kind of divorced from direct repercussions for abusing the constituents for which they work. And that's not to say sheriff departments are always great either, because the rank and file police officers there are, again, just employees. They're not necessarily the one who gets elected, who is just the sheriff. It's just when I say that, I mean I just think they are more responsive because the sheriff is under threat of
There's somebody being held
elected.
accountable,
Yeah,
not just to the mayor.
but at the same time, I think Keri pointing out Copy's comment is right, which is
Yeah,
there's a running joke, right, about if you're in the 2A communities, there's the running joke about like the ATF shooting dogs. Like they will just routinely when it's just looking for fire, or like they're just going to check supposedly on your class 3 firearms and things, and they'll just pop a round into your dog. And like it happens so frequently that it was a joke that's what the ATF does, is they just like shooting animals.
dog barks. I'm threatened.
I mean,
Yep.
and not to get into not having to relitigate what they did at Ruby Ridge, where they shot a baby in
Being held by the mother.
being held by its mother, and no repercussions for, and we know exactly which sniper did it, and he was then involved at Waco.
Oh, really?
same-
That I did
yes.
not know.
No. So, and it's crazy that there's so many people, like, more control, more oversight. This is one thing where I agree. I have no reason, and I believe wholly to my core, that police officers should be wearing body cameras. Every interaction, if they have that much, when someone is given that much legal authority over the personages of our citizenry, it is not an unreasonable ask to have them wearing body cameras so that there's a record. And one of the problems I have right now is the officers are able to mute their cameras. And if you're ever watching like videos,
Body cam
where
footage.
you will see the part where they turn the microphone off so they can come up with their stories to get their story straight with the other officers on scene, and then the mic will turn back on. I think those mics need to be unmutable. Like if you need to redact
Agreed.
things later, it can be redacted for court cases or for public consumption to protect people's private information. But there's no reason anything that an officer says to another officer, because when they forget to mute is when we catch a lot of officers admitting what they're doing, that they know it's wrong, that they know that they don't, I watch the videos. It's one of the YouTube rabbit holes I fall into where officers will talk about, well, he didn't actually have this, so I'm going to look for that instead. I'm going to write him up for this instead. Like the thing I said I was going to pull him over for is complete bullshit, so I'm just going to make up something else. And
Right.
and they say it on camera when they're on the phone with their supervisor or whatever. So I think all camera, so I know this is kind of a
I smell alcohol or I
Yeah.
smell pot.
I smell pot.
Right. Right.
And then here's the thing, like, you passed all your sobriety tests completely. Well, you know how I thought you were on alcohol? Well, now I'm going to say you're on pot, and I'm still going to arrest you.
Now you got to get toxicology,
Now you're going to have to do toxicology.
not just a breathalyzer.
Exactly. And so I kind of fall into that camp. Now, this is all kind of complete side quest over here from what Don Lemon's talking about. By the way, if you're a foreign national, you have no right to own a firearm in the United States. Owning one will just compound the crimes you're committing.
We all
being
know
here
what he's
illegally.
doing. He's
Yeah.
talking to illegal immigrants and telling them to arm up, so when ICE comes for them, they can just open fire.
That's what he wants. He
That's,
wants
that's
violence.
what he's getting at.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, let's finish it off. And yes, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's drunk or if he just got veneers or something, but he's not talking like he used to on TV.
He sounds drunk
Yeah.
to me.
There's something going on.
His
Some
husband
sense in
is
the head, in the
medicated.
heads of these people who are saying, well, it's all great. I don't believe they're doing it
Maybe he's
without
got
due
Invisalign.
process. They're asking people for papers. They're not really beating people up. These people are doing things that are illegal. Nobody is illegal. It is a misdemeanor to cross the border. Now,
Yep. So
Don
there's
Lemon.
Don Lemon.
Lamont.
Don Lemon.
It's does he not understand that misdemeanors are still like that's legal? Like he's like, it's not
Yeah.
illegal.
That is a violation of the law.
It is a violation of the law. They are criminals. They have it is a crime to come into the country illegally.
And if you are sent out of the country and come back, it is upgraded to a felony.
Yes.
So We've got one other clip, and then we'll be done with most of the clips for the night. We've got a couple others that are pretty good, but this one is Jennifer Welch. I'm sure everybody will recognize her from their Twitter timeline because she's
Yeah.
suddenly blown up everywhere. She's a psychopath.
Finally, if you think this Zoran thing is happening just in New York and you think people are waking up only in New York City, you're mistaken. Look at this clip of a wine mom at the No Kings March. Play the clip.
Whatever his name was?
Charlie Kirk, ma'am?
Yeah, him is horrible. Horrible.
Charlie Kirk is horrible?
Yes, I'm glad he's not here.
You're glad he's dead?
Yes.
Why would you say something like that, ma'am?
Because he was horrible on the campuses, the college campuses. Horrible person.
You know what? I do the exact same thing.
Well, I'm
would
so
you be
sorry.
glad if I would die?
Maybe. I'd have to think about it.
You should be
She's laughing.
ashamed of yourself.
Be ashamed of yourself.
Your friend just said she'd be happy if I died.
I think we need to.
So listen
Wow.
up, Democratic establishment. You can either jump on board with this shit or we're coming after you in the same way that we come after MAGA. Period.
Meaning murder?
Yes.
Is that what she
You can
means?
either be celebrating Charlie Kirk's death and the death of people on the right, or we're going to start killing you on the Democratic left as well. They are progressive and psycho.
Who the fuck is this?
Her name is Jennifer Welch. She is a rising podcasting star, I guess. We actually have another clip with her to play in another segment where she's talking with Jen Psaki. So it's not like she's not known outside of democratic circles.
Wow.
But that's, I mean,
Stop
she goes on
taking
with more
APAC
vitriol.
money. Go on and I'm sorry I took APAC money atonement tour if you want to stay in power. Stop missing out on these big rallies. Hakeem and Chuck should have been front and center introducing the next mayor of New York City. But no, they wouldn't show up because they're pussies. They're pussies that are beholden to the same corporations that that helped Donald Trump get elected. And this is just an embarrassment. Kudos to Bernie, to AOC, to Zoran. And that woman out in somewhere middle America saying, fuck Charlie Kirk. He was a racist. He was a piece of shit. There are so many more of us than there are of them. And these Democrats that continue to play patty cake with corporations and lobbyists, nobody wants that. Nobody wants you. We want politicians to speak freely and look at what the benefit is. Look at what is happening in New York. And you dipshits are sitting on the sidelines, running your social media like complete dorks. It's embarrassing. Get your shit together. Hakeem and Chuck, seriously, get your shit together because the Democratic Party is moving on. We are moving on.
All right.
Yeah, that's very accurate, actually. A lot of people have left the Democratic Party because of shit like this. Welcome to the Neo-Jacobin Party.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how far they're shifting. And to say that for everybody in that Senate hearing to say, no, the problem's on both sides. I don't
Yeah,
hear
totally.
that coming from us.
No.
Isn't it interesting? Well, I got a question about that. Isn't it interesting? Listening to her on our side, it sounds a lot like Nick Fuentes' rhetoric.
Yep.
So you got
Yeah,
Nick Fuentes on one
I was
side.
thinking that too.
It's that horseshoe theory. You got Nick
Yes.
Fuentes on one side, that asshole, and then you've got her. And they're basically, it seems like they're trying to both pump up the extremes on both sides
Yes.
to start a civil war.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
And they are increasingly, it's funny because for the past year, I've had people telling me that woke right doesn't exist. Now,
Oh,
take
it exists.
the phrase out of it. If you don't like the term, I get that. Fine. I didn't like the term at first either. But what it's describing, this identitarianism, this support for political violence, woke beliefs, collectivism, all of it, tyranny, authoritarianism, that does exist on the right. And it used to be very fringe, and it's become a lot louder online with people like Nick Fuentes getting I think he just crossed 1 million subscribers or something.
Right.
The getting more mainstream appearances and stuff. It is growing a little bit. And what's funny is very recently they've started all sounding the same. Half the time now, when I see a disgusting post, I'm like, wait a minute, is this person woke left or are they woke right? Like I have to figure it out because there's sometimes overlapping.
Kerry,
Overlap.
what's the common denominator? The common denominator is Welsh mentioned APEC. They both hate Jewish people. They both hate Israel.
Well,
you
they're
can debate whether
idealitarians
Israel
and
influenced.
authoritarians.
There's what's the difference? What's the similarity between the woke right and the woke left? And some people may not like what I'm about to say. A hatred towards Israel and Jewish people.
Well, there's a really great YouTube channel called Dad Saves America, and he did a fantastic video talking about this, specifically with Nick Fuentes and I forgot the term that he used. He doesn't use the term woke right, but he uses a different term, and it's a video I want to go back and rewatch because it's so fucking good. But basically, just basically kind of comparing the Nick Fuentes, the what they call them, groomers, gooners. Gripers. Thank you. I knew it was a G word. Yep. With basically the far left, and it's basically the two fucking extremes, and like you said, horseshoe theory, pretty much.
James Lindsay, if you love him or hate him, has been right on for the last year.
I agree, and I know some people. I get so many people mad at me. He's a friend of mine, I don't care. He has been right. And what's funny is a lot of times he has been also very early about predicting who is going to become more supportive of this collectivist authoritarian ideology on the right. And every single time, I've actually told him several times, well, I don't know about that guy. Like that's what you think you're seeing, but I'm going to wait and see. I do like to be very slow to figure out what I think about things. And I've had to come back to him like maybe 8 times and say, okay, you were right about that person.
Right.
Okay, I see it now. Now they're being very explicit. Okay. And it's disappointing, but he has called it right on a lot of things, whether you like his style or his tone or how he terms things or not.
But
he can get a bit nutso at times though, but he has been pretty spot on.
The problem with Lindsay, and no offense to your friend, is everybody is woke right. That's all day long. It's everybody.
I don't know about that. I think
he's going all over the place with it.
Everybody he's identified who's in a huge position of power has been pretty right on. Tucker,
Yeah, what the fuck happened to Tucker?
I mean, he's just
holy shit.
Tucker is off the charts. You never hear him.
Tucker's getting paid by the Qataris, but it doesn't matter. I mean,
I guess so.
There's 2 segments being funded, right? There's Qatar. That's because the ones who are pushing, and here's where I would disagree. Like, I found myself more this year than any time in my history not being anti-Israel, but being anti-Netanyahu because he's a
Well, that's different, right? Criticizing a government is different than criticizing like a people, right?
There's a distinction between what Fuentes and Candace are doing and having legitimate gripes with what a government is doing.
Exactly.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with criticizing Netanyahu. I don't agree with all his decisions, but if I say, I support Israel or whatever, and I get Jew, we have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of stuff I was talking about, Lindsay, is that, James has kind of lost his shit over kind of like simple stuff.
There was somebody in the last couple days where it was like, really? Now we're saying this person is, I think it was Tim Pool is now woke.
Well, no, specifically he says Tim Pool is, this isn't his word for it, but he doesn't call him woke right. He says he's a handmaiden for it. Although I don't think he used the word handmaiden, but he comes in and plays defense for a lot of these guys that I do think are woke right. Again, whether you like that label or not, but he regularly kind of, in the same way that I think Tucker's interview with Fuentes was not a piece of journalism. I think it was what's known as like a PR image rehabilitation spot. Like that's what it seemed like to me.
That's what it felt like.
It felt like it's just he didn't even challenge him when he said he admires Stalin. He didn't ask him about any of the stuff he had said and done to Charlie Kirk, any of the war he declared on Trump, the war he declared on, how does this stuff fit with what he says he believes? He didn't challenge him on the porn and the catboy stuff when he talks about how he believes in, he's a Christian and he supports traditional marriage and stuff, but then all he does is denigrate marriage and say that married men are gay and that being a father is the worst thing he can think of. Like it's a nightmare. He didn't ask any of those questions. So anyway, the point being, I think he kind of gave him sort of a very softball appearance at the very least. And Tim Pool has started doing some of that with, I think, these more extreme figures. He himself isn't saying a lot of the extreme stuff they're saying, but he's bringing them on and saying, let me get you to a wider audience to a degree. And to criticize that, here's what I'm hearing on X a lot lately. And tell me what you guys think about this. A lot of people seem to be saying, because we're so used to cancel culture from the left, that any kind of criticism of poor judgment is cancel culture. And I'm like,
that's retarded.
No, but it's not. Yeah, exactly. I think it's retarded because it's freedom of association. And if I think someone is making poor choices or poor judgment, I am using my free speech. I'm not canceling. I'm using my free speech to say that was a poor judgment call. I think you have poor judgment or maybe even poor intentions. And that doesn't mean, you should be pulled off the air and nobody should be able to listen to you. It just means like, hey, you're getting criticism and you should be tough enough to hear what that criticism is, especially if it's coming from people who are on your own political side.
Well, and there's definitely been people on the right that do kind of use those SJW tactics. I mean, John Del Rose is a really good example of that. I mean, him and I used to be, friendly. Not anymore because he's kind of like, he's gotten really fucking annoying is the best way of putting it. But it's like, I simply stated that I disagreed with him. Then he started accusing me of canceling. I was like, dude, it's like, I just disagreed with you. Shut the fuck up.
I just disagree.
Well, I agree with what Lindsay's saying in the chat. There's a difference between platforming and promoting.
Yes.
Right. I think the question
I don't believe we should tell anybody that they can't platform somebody.
Right.
But I expect them to be honest about what they're doing.
I think the big question but I got to say this. I think the big question we need to ask and we need to focus on, the most important thing over the next 2 years is identifying the people in our movement that are trying to split it up.
Yeah.
Who's trying to split MAGA?
Maybe it's the guy who said he's declaring a war on Trump and telling his followers not to vote for Trump. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, that was Fuentes. Sorry. I know you want to say something.
I think it's very important because the thing is, you look at plans of actions, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene's another one. Why is she all of a sudden going on all these leftist talk shows? She's criticizing Trump policy. She's purposely trying to create a rift. Okay. These people on the right that want to split MAGA, they always criticize either Trump or Israel. They never they hardly criticize Islam. They never criticize the left. It's always Israel, Trump, and I think there's a concerted effort to split the right. And we better pay attention to it because it's going to cost us the midterms in 28 if we don't stop it now. It's that serious.
Yes.
Lindsay, love him or hate him, has brought this to the forefront, and this needs to be addressed.
Yeah, agreed. And for me, I don't have an issue with Tim bringing people on and asking them questions because to me, sunlight is the best disinfectant. And it's like if you need to know somebody's views, right? It's like that's how you know you're like, oh yeah, this person's pretty base. Oh no, this person's a fucking lunatic. I don't want anything to do with them. So I have no problems with him. Yeah, go ahead.
I had the same problem with Benny bringing on Andrew Tate and worshiping him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like Benny Johnson, but that was over the top.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between engaging in conversation, asking questions, and like, oh yeah,
providing,
man, you're the best.
Yeah, providing a microphone to just spew whatever you want.
Yeah.
The question is, okay, and I always use this as a test in terms of Christianity and everything that's happening with Christians. Which country in the Middle East is the one that has protected Christians the most? That's Israel. And that's the thing is like, okay, why are we so goddamn obsessed with Israel, where all these other countries like Nigeria are killing Christians? Tucker never says anything about this. Fuentes never says anything. Benny, when has he brought it up? That's the thing is, Israel is the wedge to divide the right.
Yeah.
Then
You know.
Netanyahu shouldn't make it so easy.
I know.
That's-
I'm not saying I don't love the guy, but
He does. I mean, he does shit all the time that makes it hard to, like where you've got the moral high ground, you're doing well, and then you'll do stupid shit like, oh, let's and this is again, I realize that Muslim Brotherhood people were being, because I've been railing on the Muslim Brotherhood being a problem for a long time in Qatar. We have a base there. They're one of the people Trump is using as proxy to negotiate for a lot of peace deals. You don't, in the middle of that, do a fucking airstrike into their capital city and luckily Trump actually used that for leverage to get the deal.
yeah.
But this is the kind of thing where Netanyahu, and we've talked about it, Netanyahu has his own political problems. And for him, actually pursuing peace is probably the end of his political career in Israel versus other politicians who could be able to move forward, because he's got issues where he's got legal troubles and other things where if he's not, the prime minister, he's going to get into a lot of problems.
I mean, Trump hasn't done this yet, but I think Trump is going to lay waste to a lot of people on the right if they keep this going. He's going to, do his tweets, his texts, or whatever. And he's going to start calling people out because he is aware of what's happening on the right. He's seeing the split. And
It doesn't matter.
From people I've talked to.
Here's
the right
Trump,
cannot split.
The problem is Trump has a different voting base than the average Republican politician. Yep. The Republican establishment still hasn't moved. And like we've talked about the realignment, establishment Republicans are against the realignment.
Right.
and they're still not recruiting candidates for it. And there's the other problem. If Trump is focused right now, if you want to talk about the people he's going to work to get out of office, it's going to be the Rand Pauls and the Thomas Masseys, because as JD Vance succinctly put at the Turning Point event, they will never fucking vote for anything.
They're on the same side as Tucker, man.
Yeah, when you need them. So those are the people he's going to be targeting.
But here's the question. What got Trump over the finish line in 24? The minority vote? The non-traditional vote? Now, the problem with a lot of these people on the extreme right, like Fuentes, is they try to, put it with the blackface crap. They're going to push that vote to the other side. We need those people in order to win, and we can't alienate them.
Or he's going to just cause them to become demoralized and not vote. Now I'm not a person who's like, I don't care how prominent these whack jobs become, like how prominent people like these French people like Fuentes become. I can't imagine a future in which I ever say, I'm going to vote for the Democrats now. That's just insane. But I do have some friends who were saying to me, like, I don't know if I'm going to vote again. And I'm like, that's crazy. I think that's crazy. I'm telling them, don't do that. Don't let these people demoralize you. Like if you don't agree with what they're saying, the right is, then don't give it to them.
Right.
There's a
difference between criticizing Netanyahu, which he needs to be criticized at times, and then saying Hitler was cool, Hitler was right. There's a huge difference. And we're starting to see some of that Hitler is cool, Hitler was right, rhetoric on X, blackface. I mean, that shit needs to end.
Do have a couple of super chats. Talks, I believe this was about Jennifer Welch. She had me at the pussies. Hashtag no pussy hats. And Southern Belle coming in with $5. I would agree on rep split, but it feels someone is planting stories. Candace is off her rocker, but Tucker made a bad call. I don't agree with BB. Yeah. Candace has completely lost her mind.
So here's when I mentioned before that I think James Lindsay's been right about people that I'm much slower to develop an opinion on. I'm Southern Belle. You are where I was at maybe 6 months ago. because one of the first people that I came around on was Candace, and that was really disappointing to me. But I eventually got to the place of like, oh, I don't think she has good intent actually, and then I was much slower to come around on Tucker. But I'm in the place now where I do think he's off his rocker a bit too. You know, he said a demon clawed him in his sleep, and he woke up with claw marks. And a lot of people use that to make fun of him, but I actually think it happened and the demon got him. That's maybe.
I've always been skeptical of Candace. I mean, because she originally came from the left. She developed the website Social Autopsy. She seemed kind of based at first, and now she's kind of going back to visiting Crazy Town again. So it's just like, okay, you really haven't changed. You just switched teams.
And I know we all differ in opinion, but we've worked so damn hard to get Trump into office and win this thing. I don't want to see it split, because I don't want to go back to where we were 4 years ago.
Me either.
And Democrats trying to, mandate COVID vaccines. And I don't know. Sorry,
It's
I don't
like,
want to get this channel in trouble, but
we won, and not just politically getting Trump in office, but we won culturally. Like it's much easier to express opinions that don't go along with woke orthodoxy now, and we're winning. And so, isn't it crazy that right after this big win, all of a sudden it's this huge division that's happening? And as much as they want to make the division as, oh, the division is coming from neocon, like, I don't know, and they call me a Zionist, which I'm like, please define that for me. I don't even know what that means.
You support Israel. That's what it means.
But they
You
want to
don't
say
hate
that,
Jewish people, is what I would say it is
Do you
now.
believe that the country of Israel should exist?
Yeah. I think that the big thing is that, yes, you're seeing a lot of people uniting because of a common cause. And now that common cause has been achieved, people are separating back into their usual factions, I think is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're seeing kind of the opposite on the left, where they're starting to come together, where they were kind of split in factions when Biden was in office,
Mm-hmm.
Well, it happens anytime there's a different, once you're in power versus wanting to gain power.
Consolidation, and
when you're trying to gain power,
when you lose.
Yeah, you'll work together to get it. And once you're in power, you're working to get your specific agenda items gone, because right now Trump's coalition, he has the Maha people with RFK at the front who are, focused on those things. He's got the coalition of union workers who are traditionally Democrat, but are voting for him because they want to get factories and, union jobs back in the United States. You've got traditional business interests that are lining up behind Trump for, policy and money reasons, and they are not always aligned. For instance, tech bros are 100% behind this. What was the first issue that Elon ran into post-election? H-1B visas.
H-1B visas.
Yeah.
Because those things are shit for the average American. They're terrible for the American worker. But tech bros love them, and this is not, the Indians who run most of these tech companies are putting in policies and getting H-1B visas that allow a lot of Indians to come from India over to the United States and get very well-paying jobs for their standards, while effectively lowering the cost for the corporation.
And India is another Trojan horse too. They hate America.
Right. I mean, anytime they take a company over, they remove all Americans and fill it in with Indians. That's well documented.
Yeah. So, and with that in mind, there's no surprise that that's an attack vector against Vance with his wife, with Usha.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going into that.
Yeah,
that's the next topic.
Yeah, and they're trying to use that. And by the way, this is standard for, and maybe to Dr. Jones, you're new to it, but this goes back in terms of Republican politics. It is very standard to try to wedge out the different segments so that the establishment candidates can sneak in with a plurality.
Right.
That was that was what they were trying to do to Trump in 2016, which was they're going to put in a wedge guy like they're going to have Cruz well funded so that he can wedge traditional like evangelical conservatives against the Trump wing so that Jeb Bush could sneak in with a plurality and end up being the nominee.
But Jeb got
But
absolutely bitch smacked
but
right
he
off
did.
the start.
yeah, but Trump
Please
bought
clap.
him. So, here's the other thing: the establishment Republicans tend to be very out of touch, and they were so out of touch with their electorate they didn't understand the anti-war sentiment that had pervaded. I mean, because you just assume that because they're in a bubble, they assumed that the Republicans, voting in the primary, were going to be pro-Iraq war, when what we were was pro-soldier, not pro-Iraq war. By 2016, even the most rational person could look back and say that was stupid. We really shouldn't have done that, and not because we were anti necessarily war in general. If you don't realize that that Iraq by 2016 was probably not a good investment, and we weren't getting any results for it, and we were just shoveling money down the drain and hurting volunteer soldiers and using stop loss to make their lives terrible.
We became anti-hawk,
Yeah.
not anti-war.
That's where they got things wrong. They didn't realize that the people who are most pro-soldier are also most pro-soldiers not being
Pro-soldiers
wasted.
living.
Yes, like you don't want like you're willing. There's a lot of us in the like I'm an Army brat. You grow up in the military culture, and it's about sacrifice and duty. But there's an unwritten like
Not needless.
agreement that if we're gonna give that sacrifice, if we're gonna give our lives, it's gonna be for something that matters, right? And when you're after 15 years of shit not mattering, that's where they got that completely wrong. So when Trump got up there and he said Iraq was a mistake, we wasted our blood and treasure, we did all that, and the Republican establishment was like, well, Trump just ended his campaign. It was like, no, he just ended Jeb's, because that's where the average voter actually is. You're so far afield of what the average person is thinking, and they didn't understand it, and they're running into the same problem. The Republican establishment thinks this is, they're going to get their voters back. What we're in is a realignment, and Trump is just the head of it. And in a lot of ways, they should be really, the reason they're worried about Vance and they're putting out these targeted operations to really go after Vance is Vance speaks MAGA, but he would do it. He would be more administratively effective than even Trump would in dismantling apparatus of federal government. Trump is still working on the economic agenda as his primary focus. Like, people think he's sucked into some international stuff, but all of these international moves are all moving pieces around to get to the economic goal he wants. Whereas, again, the example, Caesar versus Augustus, right? Caesar was the man of the people and was doing things, and they got rid of him. And then Augustus comes in, and he was actually much more administratively sound, so he was the one who actually consolidated and became an emperor. That's why they're kind of working into that.
I think the fact that Vance can laugh at himself too, I think, is a definite plus. With his
Yeah,
should have
Halloween
gone
Halloween
fat
costume
suit
was
though.
hilarious.
Should have
He's
gone
so
fat suit.
funny.
Crazy
the-
Cat Guy for $20. Real quick, let me get this one, and then we'll go right back to it. Had to reel in my super chats because I have much less disposable income in the current economy. That said, I want to say thanks for providing a forum for political discussion. I believe that is important in a free society.
Agreed.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Crazy Cat Guy.
I mean, that's the one great thing about this experience tonight is we may disagree on Lindsay or whatever, but we can have this discussion. If this was a discussion on the left, it'd be like, oh, get off our stream. Or, there is no discourse on the left, and I think it's great and a testament to being able to speak our minds here. I mean, that's the difference between us and the left.
Yep.
Yep.
And Toxic Man Flu for $5. I woke up with demon claw marks too, but I divorced my second ex-wife, and it hasn't happened since.
Damn.
And then last one we've got right now, John Coleman for $5. I'm showing my lack of age. When I hear Maha, I think Amanda Bynes. I think Amanda Bynes. I don't know what that's referring
I
to.
don't
I know
care.
who Amanda Bynes is.
I have no idea.
She's a perfect example of what happens to young actors in Hollywood. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They just get used up,
Yeah.
destroyed psychologically. Poor, especially in people talk about Disney, but Nickelodeon with that one dude, the guy who
Dan
was on
Schneider.
Head of the Class. He was like horrible.
Yep.
Dan
Horrible,
Schneider.
horrible.
Well, Dr. Jones, I know you had said before the show that you needed to probably check out about 15 minutes ago. So I don't know if you're
I can
needing
stick
to
around.
go.
We're going to postpone it a little bit. I'm having a lot
Okay.
of fun. Unless you want me gone.
No, I just wanted to
I'm just messing with you.
be careful with your time. Comics, you good?
Yeah, I can hang in till about 11:30 my time.
Okay. So the next topic I was actually going to go to was JD Vance and the Turning Point USA event. So he did share a little bit about his interfaith marriage to Usha. Vance described her as agnostic. Everybody keeps saying no, she's Hindu, but I mean, it's his wife. If he's saying she's agnostic, then she's probably agnostic. He then said that he hopes that Usha will convert to Christianity. He prays for it and believes it'll happen someday. We had massive online backlash about this, from critics slamming him for implying that non-Christians, including potentially his own wife, are headed to hell.
Otherwise known as a tenet of the Christian faith.
Right. And for promoting Christian nationalist views that undermine interfaith relationships. So the Hindus are pissed because he believes she should convert. The feminist said that he threw his wife under the bus publicly, and the leftists cried about Christian nationalism. So there's the framing. Yeah. If you are a Christian, you tend to believe that that is the only way to heaven. So you would probably want your wife to come along with you, which would mean you would want her to convert, because you do believe that any other way is not the way. So I do not see anything controversial about what he said. And I don't see anything controversial about him pointing it out in public.
Yeah, what's interesting is I don't know if you ever, in my background, a lot of my family being the Italian side is Catholic, and they would tend to start marrying, and they started marrying Protestants, or it was not unusual to have within a Protestant and Catholic married couple household, especially if the wife was Catholic, the wife would go and pray at church for the Protestant husband to see the light, and join the Catholic church. And they would, and that was just normal. You would make jokes in the house like, it's okay, one day this heathen will find Jesus, and he's like, I already found Jesus, and she's like, no, you think you have, but it's okay. I lit a candle for you and I spoke with the priest, we're gonna work on it. This is not new. It is totally normal in an interfaith or kind of marriage, especially with a very believing Catholic, or which is what JD Vance is, to want for them to comment and speak openly about wanting their spouse to join their group, their side, their version, whatever you want to call it, sect,
to not burn in hell.
Yeah, because I mean, look, we all know the only one that is definitely wrong is Mormon.
Stop. I agree. It doesn't.
I know you agree that definitely Mormons are wrong.
I do, but I think about, he said nothing controversial. This is just another phony baloney leftist outrage, fake outrage crap. Like it would be concerning to me if he didn't care if his wife became saved or not. This is we are Christians, and we believe what we say we believe. Shocker! Like, newsflash. We want our friends and family and loved ones and even strangers to find the joy that we have found in Jesus. Like, that's part of being a Christian. It's like, I found the antidote. I want other people to find this. And honestly, it's a great commission, and it would solve a lot of like leftist problems, to be honest. Like, a lot of their problems are their mental anguish, their emotional anguish, their resentment. Like, a lot of that, Jesus is the cure for all of that. Just because we don't try and force it down your throats, even though you think we do. But I pray for my friends who I love, who are atheists, but I pray for them, and some of them ask me to.
Comix,
Imagine
you get
that.
upset when we pray for you.
Oh, I think he took a bathroom break because we're talking about converting him.
Well, a good example of this, right, that you run into when you talk with people who aren't Christians, because they get into this and they get it. What is it? The like Cracker Jack box knowledge of what Jesus said, right? Like, so, well, Jesus said, love everybody, and you can't judge. And it's like, no. That's you're kind of missing a lot of points. And this comes up with when it comes to people who are gay or look, I'm being a Christian, I can be friends with these people, I can break bread with these people, I can talk politics with these people, and it's not something where I'm gonna necessarily do. But if they ask me genuinely, do I think that the choice of what they're doing is Christian, I would say no, it's not. And that's not something I'm not going to do it mean-spirited. It's not going to be, I'm not going to tell them. And if they ask, do you think that I'm, going to go to hell? And I was like, unless you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and unless you choose to turn away from the sin, you're going to have problems. And it's, and I'm not going to lie about that. Does that mean I think you are a bad person on a character level? Not necessarily. I think it means you, just like all of us, you have flaws and you need to work away from it. And that's where they get in a tizzy. Well, you're telling someone they can't be gay. And I was like, well, if they want to actually follow the Christian teachings, they shouldn't be doing that. Does that mean I'm going to sit there at every meal and every occasion I'm with someone and tell them their life choices are wrong and they're going to hell? That's a different type of Christianity. That's a fire and brimstone type. I don't think that's necessarily effective at getting people to choose the right path. We came in, I think one of our early shows, and I know Brahm and I, early when we first started hanging out, there was an incident I think it was at a Turning Point event, where it was an adult film actress was kicked out. Brandy Love. And, we had a discussion, and I was of the opinion that was stupid to do. That you need, if you're going to be a big tent on a political party side, you let everybody in who could add votes to your total. And the reason I am, on that thing is because if you're a good Christian, you don't necessarily need to be fire and brimstone and like your choices are evil. You can talk to someone and be friendly with someone without this is where, without like advocating their life choices. You provide the example. You provide, look at our life. I'm a happily married person. I have a kid. We're doing well. I'm very happy and well adjusted. I went through a period of unemployment and I wasn't like clawing at everything because I had a support system and I had my faith and all these other things. And you can see when you want to be that example for somebody so that they can hopefully see, because they need to come to the religion on their own terms and accept it. Because if you're just being lip service, if they're just joining because it's the thing they have to do, that's not actually accepting Jesus into your life, right? If you're not actually accepting it in your heart, you're not doing it. And I think that's where this is important. You don't kick them out. And this is where the attack on Vance to me is very insidious. Like, they're going of the opinion and they're moving on the track that they're attacking him through Usha, because either on one side the attack vector is she's a secret Indian agent of Hindu origin who's gonna subvert the entire US government by being married to JD Vance. On the other attack vector, he's a Christian nationalist who's just trying to forcibly convert everybody now. They're so wildly stupid.
And yes, while hitting the Christian side of it, that's kind of what I wanted to get into. We started talking last week about the attacks that are already coming for JD Vance. because they see him as, the next
The heir
horrible,
apparent.
horrible person. Yes.
Yeah.
I actually think the overt attacks of people as being Christian nationalist is a wedge to turn, because one of the things Trump had done very effectively was to activate evangelicals, and I'm not talking about the leadership of most of these large sects and churches. I'm talking about the average on the ground people, realizing that we are in a battle for the culture and the soul of America, and it is not wrong to speak out as a Christian and to band together as Christians to vote in the interests of your faith. Right?
Yes.
That and so that's different. So the attack vector is now all of a sudden they're trying to use that awakening
Well,
to become a Christian
While also
nationalist.
celebrating Mom Donnie for
I have
exactly doing that.
I have an interesting testimony because I grew up Christian. I grew up in an evangelical church, and I was a Christian pretty much through college. And I met my wife, and we've been together 27 years. We're celebrating 25 years
Congrats.
married in December, a month from now. And there was a period, I'd say early 2000, where I fell away from the church. And when I fell away from the church, I started embracing the democratic socialism. And she just kept praying for me because I was just going down. Like I said, my narrative is interesting in terms of how a Christian and how a Republican person can fall. And what brought me back was not only my wife praying for me, but also seeing the left and everything that they were doing around COVID and researching, like I said, World Economic Forum, UN, Agenda 2030, and abortion up to birth. And I'm like, okay, this side on the left is really doing some horrible things. And it was a slow process, but I really have to give my wife a lot of credit, because without her and without her prayers, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I gave my life back to God a couple of years ago. I know I have a bit of a foul mouth. I'm not perfect, but I think there is something really unholy about the left. Their whole platform is unholy, and I just pray every night that God delivers our country, whatever that looks like. And I pray for my kids, and I don't want us to fall into what the left wants, with abortion up to birth and transing kids at 6 years old. I mean, there's just some really evil stuff. And if it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't be here where I am right now. So,
Amen.
so
That's a beautiful testimony. And I think that's what Vance was getting at is, it's clear to me he doesn't pressure her, obviously, which is great. Like that doesn't work anyway. But
No.
but you also shouldn't lie and say you don't wish that for them. You don't pray that for them. He answered perfectly appropriately.
I mean, there was a period in my life in 2015 where I was like covered in tattoos, and I just, I did not look like anybody on the right or a Christian. And if I would have sat in a church, I probably would have had people say, "Oh, this guy doesn't belong. This guy's like an agent
Long-haired
of
freaky
Satan."
people need not apply.
Yeah. And when I see these clips on, I think the thing that pisses me off about X is when I see these clips and there's somebody praying with like dyed hair and tattoos, and they're like, is this person a Christian? Does this person, this ex-porn star, do they love the Lord? And then people are like, well, they did their act and now they're trying to seek forgiveness. I mean, who is Mary Magdalene,
Exactly.
No, that's like last year with Nala.
Yeah, exactly.
Even Russell Brand.
Right.
Church is a hospital for souls. Like everybody doesn't look perfect. That's why they're there.
I mean,
Like
it's not like, if you go back to the beginning, it's not like even beyond Mary Magdalene. It's not like all the apostles, right? You can look at Paul and Jesus wasn't exactly taking people
Matthew
who were
was a
perfect.
tax collector.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
man, the idea that people can't go from life to, and this is where with Vance and with Erica Kirk and everything, where now I noticed they're like, she's got a tramp stamp. Look at her, because they pulled out
and that
a
was
picture.
the other attack from Turning Point was them hugging, and people trying to now ship JD Vance and Erica Kirk, saying that he's going to leave Usha to marry Erica.
Her
And it's
husband was just murdered.
ridiculous.
I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
By the way,
Everybody keeps judging her on how she grieves,
I
and
know.
it's a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit
ridiculous.
disgusting.
I saw this is a good example of what I mentioned earlier. A good circle back to me not being able to tell the woke right from the woke left as much as anymore as I used to, because I saw some of the most disgusting memes being shared about her for Halloween. There was the one that's going around that's like,
Yeah.
fake grieving wife. And the first people I saw sharing it were on Facebook, and they're woke, what I would call woke right. They're all super rabid about like Candace Owens fans, and they consider themselves on the right, and they love mocking her.
Mhm.
And then I found out later the left was sharing those same memes, but they probably stole them from the right, let's be honest, because the left can't meme. And and so they're both, it's like she's getting it from both sides. Like, what is wrong with people? Like, give her a break.
Yeah.
I've seen some
Yep.
people defending it by saying, oh, well, I don't like her makeup, or I don't like her leather pants, or I don't like that. Okay, fine. Like, those are taste issues. I think honestly, she's a beautiful woman, and I think she wears too much makeup too, but most women do. And why are you using
Especially
this,
most beauty queens.
most beauty queens, and why are you using this moment to criticize her on some nitpicky issue of taste when her husband's been dead like 2 months? Like, to me, it just seems cruel. It's not there's no fruits of the spirit in that. There's no patience or gentleness or kindness or charity. It's just like cruel for no reason.
So
Yep.
my wife and I are kind of in a similar situation with our daughter, because our daughter has struggled with, I'll be honest, being transgender in the whole cult. She's 17, and it was when she was 12. She said, "Oh, I think I'm a boy," and my wife and I united, and we were like, "Okay, we're gonna try to run out the clock on this. We're not gonna like do any therapies or anything. We're just gonna pray for her." And I think that woke me up as well. And she has trouble going to church because, I mean, we're not like super strict with how she dresses. I mean, she dresses like a tomboy, and she'll go into church, and she's always like, I don't like going to church because I feel like they're judging me and they're kind of making fun of me and whatnot. And we just pray that not only does God deliver her from her transgender thoughts, but that she just finds a good person at church, and good people at church that'll deliver her from this. So when I talk about the wickedness on the left, it's personal because of my daughter.
Yeah.
And
That's a lot like Elon's story.
right. And I don't want church to be a place where my daughter goes and she's like, oh, I hate these Christians. Well, now I really want to transition. And we pray, we don't indulge it. We don't talk about it. We try to talk her out of it. But the most powerful thing we can do is prayer. That's it,
Yeah.
So.
Yep. That is a tough one.
I will tell you, in case it's I don't know, encouraging, that there's several people that I know, several people in the church, at my church and another nearby church, who struggle with this. Young adults who struggle with this in high school, and who were coming to church as atheists, and who thought they were trans, and God has delivered them. I know more than one success story. So for anybody, not just you, but anybody who's had that, like, I've seen it happen. I just had another friend reach out who is now detransitioning because God convicted her heart, and was asking me for prayers, and I've seen that God change that for people.
Yeah, and when my wife and I have prayed for our daughter, we'll talk afterwards, and I tell her, I said, if we were in California, Gavin in the state would take our kid and trans them, and I think that's the danger and the evil we're facing. Yep. And I know why Vance wants to pray for his wife. It's the same thing, because I don't know.
Yeah, and here's what the left's answer to that is for Usha.
I think the little Manchurian candidate, JD Vance, wants to be president more than anything else.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you
Agreed.
okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And that he's
Notice that's that same Jennifer Welch chick.
willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain ways.
He's smarter.
In some ways. And he's young.
Yeah. And ambitious.
And ambitious. And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes
Right.
himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. Now, what's also true, though, is JD Vance is not, he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know. But I don't know that he can take the whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no Riz.
It's
No Riz.
They're so clueless.
God, how old are these?
hags
How old is
actually
she?
know how this is working? I have no idea, but she looked 55 to 60.
it's got
Yeah,
no
it's good.
Riz, right?
Man.
Oh, Jesus.
Jin Saki saying Riz.
Hello, fellow kids.
Unironically.
And he just is a little odd. And so
Totally.
Trump's odd in a different way. So I'm
Totally.
skeptical of that. So yeah,
Totally.
he's got to, I mean, everything going on right now, and I think we have to be very clear-eyed about this, is about trying to manipulate the public around elections. And
Yeah. So, I mean, where they started off, though, is, kind of where I was getting at with, they're starting to attack JD already. And, from the left, they're doing the whole thing of he's just holding her hostage.
It's funny they say odd, but that's the side of Richard Levine.
Yeah.
They don't
The
believe
Admiral.
they don't believe that women, and especially women of color, have any personal
Agency?
Yes, they're so sexist and they're so racist that they can't comprehend a conservative woman, and so they make up all these lies in their head where they're like, you need to be rescued, blink twice, you don't really want to be there.
You're
you
a
know?
Stepford wife, kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Talks for $2. Is it just me or does Jin look mannish now?
Yeah, she does.
Talking
kinda
about these
does.
white savers, have you ever heard of this guy named Will Stancil?
Yes.
Yeah, this creator has created this thing called the Will Stancil Show, and it kind of ties into what they're saying. It's like, here I am, I'm going to save all these people from the right and the Nazis, but yet they're the Nazis,
Yep.
National Socialist.
Yeah,
That's what it means.
it's what these girls are and these women are. We got to save her.
So we need to start winding down. Let's end it on a semi-lighter tone. And Chad, if you can pull the memes real quick. So this one, Corinne Jean-Pierre has her new book. She's been going on, the tour, doing all the shows and the podcast to highlight the fact that, as her book is titled, she is now an independent. So we're just going to do a quick...
She still defends Joe Biden, though. Sharp as
That's
a
all
tack.
she defends from the left. It's just Joe Biden was the perfect thing. I mean, she hasn't changed anything. She's just upset that they're attacking her former boss over his obvious mental decline and the fact that she probably can't get a job anywhere.
Probably.
But she's had a little bit of a habit on all of these appearances that needed to be pointed out, as well as, many times when she was still in the White House at the press corps. So this compilation comes from Daily Wire and Matt Walsh's team, but pretty funny. So
Have you noticed that
throw it
she's
up
straightening
here
her
real
hair?
quick. Yes, that's the only reason you can tell when this is press tour, or when this was her as the press secretary, or whether she's on her press tour, is the hair in the different clips.
No more Sideshow
So-
Bob.
Yeah.
I woke up every day as a Black woman who is queer.
And as the first openly queer person to hold the position of press secretary for the President of the United States.
Oh, by the way, I want to point out
I
how
see
she's
every day
culturally
how
appropriating
important
white women's hair. How dare she?
It's funny because they also didn't disclose. She's married to Suzanne Mulvo, who's a CNN reporter. And they never, like, normally you're supposed to acknowledge that kind of thing. You know, a conflict of interest. Nope, never brought it up once.
Yep.
And representation are.
I am a Black gay immigrant woman.
As the first Black openly queer White House press secretary.
As a Black woman, as a person who's also LGBTQ.
As a Black woman who has walked through the walls of the White House, that I meant a lot to people.
You know, it's funny. She should have just gone through the doors.
Yeah. She's like the Kool-Aid man.
And she was invited in.
Oh, Kool-Aid man.
Handpicked by Jen Psaki to make Jen Psaki look not as bad
She
as she
breaks
was.
through the wall, and Joe Biden's like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm queer."
Oh yeah.
And they felt seen.
And Joe
when
Biden
they
was
saw
like, "The
me at
macho man's
podium.
back."
Whether it was women of color, Black women, queer community, LGBTQ community, immigrant, they felt seen. I am a Black woman. I am a queer woman. I'm an immigrant.
I'm Black. I'm a Black woman. I'm queer. I'm an immigrant, and I'm Haitian American.
What the hell language subtitles are those?
I have no idea.
That was
I'm
my
black,
favorite
y'all.
part about
I'm
that.
black, y'all.
Is she
Yep.
black? Do you guys think she's black?
In case you didn't know,
What's the
she's
line from
black and queer.
CV4.
What was the from the Spaceballs when it's like, "I'm glad. Gee, I wonder if she's glad." This one would be, "Gee, I wonder if she's black and queer."
And a woman.
All right,
But,
guys.
I guess we can
I
finally
gotta,
answer the "What is a woman?" question.
I gotta bail.
Yeah.
I gotta go to bed.
No problem, Comics. I think all we're
right.
doing is memes and then heading out ourselves. So
Later,
if you
man.
and Dr. Jones need to go, or if Keri needs to go too, go ahead and do your outro, Comics.
Good night.
Ooh, it's a sultry voice.
All right. Comics is self-promoting as usual.
That was fun.
Do you guys want to stick around for memes, or do you guys need to go?
Yeah,
I
I'll
know it's
stay.
getting late.
Yep. All right.
Keri, you good?
I can stay.
Okay. Let's get to the memes.
He can't take Grandpa anywhere. He's wearing a T-shirt with a chart showing the correlation of the downward usage of calling people gay and retarded and smoking in restaurants on planes, and the upward corresponding rise in mass shootings and people going to therapy.
There you go.
All right. Chief spreading bullshit wants you to look over there with a nice image of Elizabeth Warren in a full Indian chief regalia, complete with the feathers and everything. Oh.
Uh-huh. Pocahontas.
Republican senators have voted 13 times to fund SNAP. Democrats have voted 13 times to not fund SNAP. End of story. Yep, that's more of just a infographic than a meme.
Correct.
Right. What the shutdown is really about, in their words, Martin Heinrich: paying our troops gives the president more leverage. Bernie Sanders: you reopen the government, we lose our leverage. Chuck Schumer: every day gets better for us. Ruben Gallego: then I'd just go back and shut it down again. Chris Coons: frankly, this is our only moment of leverage, and although a very unpleasant tool to use, we're doing it. Congressman Catherine Clark: there will be families that are going to suffer, but is one of the few leverage times we have. So.
I do find it hilarious that I can't remember if it was Jasmine Crockett or AOC, but they're like, if you notice, there wasn't any government shutdowns under Biden. There were shutdowns under Trump, and now there's another shutdown under Trump. And it's like, that's not the win you think it is. I mean, technically, that just means the Republicans refuse to shut down the government when you guys are in power. Which, for better or for worse, I mean, we don't shut down the government. The Democrats do. Every time.
All right, so this one, we have a stock picture of a man giving a thumbs up with a red little ribbon that says, "We lie to you and steal your money," which is a Republican. And then we have a stock image of a Democrat in a suit giving a thumbs up with a blue ribbon saying, "We steal your money and lie to you." So,
Yeah, bingo.
there you go.
Night talks.
All right, this is a tweet. A black woman invented the telescope. You might disagree. You might even have some evidence to the contrary, but you have to ask yourself this: is this really worth losing my job over? A black woman in the telescope. So he's drinking the Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then we have a political cartoon with Antifa thugs in their hoodies and masks saying, "Let's go and loot and riot, boys." And Chuck Schumer cutting up an EBT card saying, "Don't be mad, you're our leverage." The Schumer shut down millions of angry people about to lose SNAP benefits.
It's amazing how many people are on the benefits.
What is it? It's like
40 million?
48 million.
I mean, you're illegal.
Yeah. And then, so a political cartoon with a pink-haired, large woman holding us, well, possibly man, I don't know. It's supposed to be left person.
Who knows?
Refugees welcome, and then making a very sad face when it's Afrikaner family.
South African white family.
Yep. An ad for the London. Welcome to London. Don't forget your stab vest. Vodka.
Oh gosh, that's dark and true.
Ricky Gervais.
So true.
Free brisket to anyone shooting a looter. Probably a sign coming to a Buc-ee's near you. Keyboard warriors, because talking shit in person is too dangerous.
Getting there.
Do we have another? Oh, I think it starts here. I told my pub landlord he should hire a trans person, and he replied, "Oh, go on then. That'll be a laugh. What shall I go for? One of the confused autistic teenagers or a midlife crisis pervert?"
Literally shaking right now.
Yep. Women are only pro-abortion because babies are under 6 feet tall.
The 666 rule.
Yeah. And broke. Yeah. The goal of socialism. So the left and right, it's all just social. Yeah. They always forget National Socialist Party. That was what they were in Germany. Oh, and then just Charlie Brown going wah, 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 wah. And then, so no context to it. So I don't know what that one
I don't know.
is. And yeah, that looks like that was the end.
That's the memes for the night. Well, Dr. Jones, would you like to tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Truth or Consequences 12 on X. Yeah, that's it. Just
awesome. And you have subs activated on that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here. It was nice talking with you tonight. I'm sure we'll have you on in the future.
This was my first political discussion, and I kind of enjoyed it. So
hopefully you had a good time. We didn't scare you off.
It's nice to get it out sometimes, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Pardon me while I whip this opinion out.
Right. And Keri, you got a big week coming up. You want to tell everybody what you've got going?
Yeah, I'm going to be on a panel on Tuesday night for election night coverage for NTD, which is related to the Epoch Times. And just say a prayer for me if you pray, because I feel a little bit out of my element talking about elections. And so thanks for letting me get some more practice. And you know me, I prefer to talk about culture and ideology. So, but it should be fun. It should be a interesting group of people. They're going to have Democrats and whatever I am on the panel. MAGA. They're going to have MAGA on the panel. So
yep. You got anything going on your channel this week too, or?
I think actually tomorrow, I haven't announced it yet, but I think I'm going to take it off because I got to pack and I've got to finish painting part of the fence. So, so no, just this thing on Tuesday. And then, yeah, I really love hanging out with you guys. Thanks for inviting me.
I will pray for you.
Thank you very much. That I just say words that are pleasing to God, and
you're gonna do great. It'll be a good appearance. And when in doubt, just look at someone on the panel and call them an ignorant slut, and it'll be funny.
Jane.
You ignorant slut.
Say Brawn of Vipers. There you go.
By the way, Dr. Michael Jones, your avatar, your picture, is that Vance?
Yeah, I had to pick on this. That's not like I just chose it for this broadcast. I had to pick something.
For at least half the show, I thought that's what you look like. And then I realized.
I do have long hair and a beard. So, I mean, he's a little thinner than I am, but there are some similarities.
Well, Keri, we hope you do a great job and you don't have any problems with the nerves. Just if they ask you something you don't know,
I'll just be honest.
Don't BS it. I mean, that's the safest way to go on anything like this, I think. Yeah, don't try to pretend you know something you don't.
Never. I'm like the common man on the panel. Everyone else has all these titles and stuff, and then they're like, let's bring an average person.
I don't know where I am not an average person. Just you're fine, and you're gonna be doing. If I can spout bullshit political opinions for hours a week, you're gonna do a-okay. You're more into it than probably plenty of the people who will be watching the panel. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you're gonna do great.
Just say whatever you're gonna say with confidence, and people will believe it.
Yep.
Thank you.
And take it as an opportunity.
Yep, to get better
do
at debate.
Well, an opportunity to have this debate, and also an opportunity to grow your voice a little bit, because you are one of the voices that people need to be hearing. We had one last one from Southern Belle. It's Brahma Bull's natural yogurt, probably made from bull's milk.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yep. Chad, what do you got coming up this week?
I think we're doing a MadEPAP on Tuesday.
I think he keeps them aside for his show. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be on Mad's new channel. Then we'll have the Ascendant Art podcast Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to manage to drag Slender to see the new Predator movie, and we'll either be surprised or rip it apart.
Is your channel mostly like politics and entertainment, or
just entertainment mostly, and whatever? It's just keep it light and fun.
Yeah.
And occasionally the politics comes in. We'll have something.
But we get yelled at the second we start talking politics or sports.
Actually, it's funny now. People would be like, that's a bullpen topic. Save it for Sunday.
Yeah.
So there's that, and so that'll be good. That'll be fun. I don't know what other stuff will be happening. I mean, by then we'll have election results, so maybe we'll have a moment or two on that. But we try to keep it fun and a little more easygoing. So sometimes the entertainment discussions do get into kind of some, I guess, what would be politically themed topics, but not from so much the immediate political angle to just kind of the storytelling side and things like that.
More like gaming and
we do gaming stuff,
Hollywood
too.
type. Yeah.
It's funny when I'm on Brian's broadcast, and anytime hockey's brought up, people in the comments are like, "This isn't the hockey show."
Yeah.
Yep.
I do like I like sports. It gets me in trouble with my co-host on Ascendant Art. He is not a sports person, so which is funny because I'll bring up occasionally like, look at this clip, it's ridiculous. A guy taking 17 steps and not being called for traveling in the NBA.
And Slender will immediately go have a cigarette and disappear for 6 minutes.
Yeah. Look at these football plays.
That's like when you guys try to do a sports analogy for something political, and you're like, it's like with this sports thing, and I'm like, completely zoned out.
on Keri's show Friday, she had Mad and me on there, and Mad started doing an analogy about Madden and NFL 2K.
Yeah, and you lost me.
She just went glazed.
It's funny.
As for me, I've got Comix Division tomorrow night and Thursday night. On, let's see, Tuesday we've got Mad's new channel. We do not have a Christian panel this week, but we did do one this last week, so go check it out. Friday, I'm with the guys at Ascendant Art. Saturday, we've got Bourbon and Boarding, and then we're back here for the Bullpen next Sunday. So, hope everybody has a great week. Safe prayers for Keri, and we will catch you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Here's your credits. Hopefully.
There's credits.
They need to be updated.
Yeah, we can talk over them, by the way.
Yeah. Because nobody likes the song.
Do you still have the crazy like version of my name in there?
Oh yeah, I haven't been able to update them. I always forget that part of it. And we've got a few new members, so we need to get them in there. But...
Hey Brahma, I got James Lindsay to retweet your broadcast. So.
Oh yeah?
Oh,
is that why we're up at 2,800?
Yep. I sent
That's so nice.
I sent him a DM, and he and I are in good graces. So.
Well, Keri's gonna be with him Tuesday night.
Yeah, so he's going to be on the panel with me, and I was so happy to see his name because the other people were making me nervous.
Keep in mind, we're still on stage. Just so you guys know.
What does that mean?
Yep. We're still broadcasting.
We can still be heard.
Oh. Well, I don't think it's a secret that he's going to, but I'm so happy he's going to.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure you guys knew.
Oh, thanks.
See, he and I have been kind of like talking back and forth for the last couple of years, and when I think Keri, when you had your broadcast couple, I sent him your broadcast and he retweeted it, and I did the same thing for you, Brahma, and that's why you have so many viewers today. So
awesome. Thank you.
Help you out a little bit.
Thank you very much.
Appreciated. Well, that does it for us tonight. Have a good week, everybody. Catch you later.